Welcome, besties, to another week of NASA Season 3. I'm Kat Kupo. I am here with Dendar. Dendar, how are you doing today?
Pretty good. I've seen one of these teams play before, so I know I'm looking forward to getting to see them play again. What's your history with these two teams? Have you been enjoying watching them play?
I've been enjoying watching all of NASA here, but we have some really interesting matchups here on what I believe is the last week of the regular season. Uh, we're starting off with, excuse me, Fool versus Requiem. And this is a match with huge, playoff implications for Core Requiem, right?
Yeah, so this one with Core Requiem sitting at a 4-4 record, if they win this one, they're just guaranteed into the playoffs, no questions asked. But here, the Fools with 3-5 record, there is a real world where if they win this game, they could make their way in, even with their current record. So this is a big game for them, and the Fools are gonna try their best. Core Requiem, though, they're just here to lock it up and say, you know what, we're trying to guarantee get into this game. Just like how we're on this game on Demon Deus, as we see a Finny pick potentially come out with the Now ban, Now being that great
Yeah.
character at damage, knockback, healing, literally everything you could want, especially when the Fools seem to be picking a very damage oriented team. I know that Striker Kai, being very good in the midfield, might have a little bit of struggle when instead of fighting the core, he spends most of the game fighting another player. What do you think about this little bit of a matchup where we have this sort of Era X buffer style comp versus just this hard damage? We're here to play Demon Days.
So personally, for me, I think that the era on Demon Days is a little bit underrated. It's pretty good. It's got some things really big behind it. And the Monumentalist start certainly will help with that, helping to create space with that giant tornado. But Monumentalist start means that Finny has it too. And it is so hard to peel it off from here. But we do have a name off. It looks like the players are pausing and might reset this. I'm not 100% sure. Unfortunate name off there. Don't get to see the Monumentalist really starting to wreak havoc. A Finny card hitting era is the proper thing to have happen there. And they've left to turn their name on. Really unfortunate there. We always have our players have their name on, competitive integrity and all that. But we know we're going to Demon Days. Do you think we're going to see the same comp see here? We still will get that now ban, almost certainly, but perhaps without Monumentalist, they want to leave it up?
Well, it's a little tough because if I remember right, the penalty for having name off is I believe they just don't get their ban, so that may come into play. With the Monumentalist, though, like you said, yeah, that era being able to wreak havoc with those tornadoes. I think now, if you're still playing a comp like that, unless you see something like Twin Drive and just have to say, okay, well, now is good, but maybe we just get rid of the Atlas or something along those lines. I feel like if you're playing just a hard damage comp, you kind of just have to commit to the removing the now from the game, especially since she is pretty great on that map.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so we were sent to the east, and we were trying to go to Dallas, so we are dodging that name off penalty. There was a different issue that the teams couldn't deal with, so they will still have their ban. Both teams will still have a ban for this one. I can't imagine the Rasmus ban being specifically because of Monumentalist or built different there. Maybe the built different, that extra size on the Rasmus goalie, something that a lot of goalies do enjoy here on Demon Days. But I feel like we'll probably still see the Now and Rasmus bans. It makes a lot of sense. It's much easier to predict now, knowing the general shape of composition these two teams were looking for. It really, really looked like more damage, more damage, more damage on the side of Fool.
You know, normally they say saved by the bell. Here they were saved by the Dow. So we'll have to see what band they do choose on as we go into this game. They have queued back up. Hopefully the queue system working. The other day we were casting this, and boy, it took like maybe 6 tries to finally get into the game, but we are finally here. We'll have to take a look at what the awakenings are. And our nice little infographic just isn't there. So you know what, we're going into this blind, and that's just fine.
We do have the Rasmus hover while it's not banned, so maybe they were really onto something here. Zoro may be a big proponent of that Rasmus Demon Days. A lot of good clear angles for it. Gonna actually see contested votes on the side of Core Requiem. So the Vice ends up going, the Rasmus stays, the Finny is out of here. Don't care about that anymore. No Monumentalist, none of that. But we have Rasmus on both sides. I suppose that's why we saw the split bans there, but that's not really something you ever want to see. Juno coming in to replace the Vice, and honestly, this Core Requiem composition seems like these two compositions together seem like two of the lowest damage compositions I've seen on Demon Days in a while.
And there's some degree to that may be that if you know they're banning the now, the Erasmus might have been the initial ban, but when you see that Vice and say, well, if we get rid of sort of the damage linchpin for their midfield, maybe we don't care that there's like the now ban as much anymore because they're not going to be as inclined to play damage. So if we just get rid of the Vice, we can kind of just control what they're allowed to play. But right now they're controlling this midfield pretty well as they keep it behind the lock. Coin helping to get this out, but Xeno Gemini walking up with that size, really helping out from the Pauldrons. We've got 1-2 punch and built different again, actually, so the size is still going to be relevant for both the Rasmai. And we're just going to have to see if this 1-2 punch works out. Explains why we see the Juno, but right now there's Juno taking over the game as they get one lock and keep it in this sort of 1v2 situation, helping Coin stay alive. But they just can't seem to get it out as now they lose the second lock. And now Coin, maybe being an excellent decoy even with that low life, is saying, hey, you know, I can't participate in the play as much, but if I'm still allowed to be here and be a threat to you, you still have to respect me.
Yeah, there was a lot of damage there on the side of its Loki, but surviving there. The blobs here from Flopdrop buying a lot of space for Zoro, but you can't buy space from that. The core flip comes out of its Loki, gets a double kill, aces them very early on the first point. That's a lot of XP for its Loki, almost a full level up on Coin now, and a really good start for Core Requiem. An unfortunate point there for the Fools. I watched as Coin missed one strike, and unfortunately that caused a situation that ended up losing both of their barriers. A core flip burned on the side of Xeno Gemini, but Coin does not want to have that sort of thing happen. But there's so much damage is going down here. I said these were low damage comps, and I think I'm being quickly proven wrong, Dendar.
Well, you know, with 1-2 punch, really it seems like anything can do damage. You know, I played against ZZZ's Brawler Juno before, and that character does a surprising amount of damage, but as I say that, they get damaged themselves straight into the blast zone. As now we have a 3v2, the Zentaro not really able to keep that core in. But right now, it's Loki trying to keep it behind the lock. Coin trying to help out, put a little pressure on Striker Kai, maybe present a clear angle. But that hook makes one for them. The Slime almost making that core flip a little difficult. But Zoro having excellent timing, recognizing when it's going to leave, they get it out. And right now, Striker Kai is trying to fix that as they take that second lock. But Xeno Gemini a little preemptive on the pendulum swing as it sneaks in there. And now we have to see whether or not they can keep up this damage or whether they're going to be able to really just bunker down and say, you know what, it doesn't matter if there's damage, there just needs to be 0 locks in the process.
That was such a clutch angle from Zoro. I'm glad to see another person absolutely knowing this angle, dominating with it. The way that Demon Dace is set up, you generally end up with an overloaded side and an empty side. And as a goalie, being able to use your core flip to clear, to hit that angle and manage to get a barrier on the other side, bought them that point, because otherwise it's Loki's bounce off of their own barrier would not have had space. Great play from Zoro, just buying a bit of space, getting that barrier open. And then unfortunate from Xeno Gemini. Here we still got all the barriers up until Zoro dribbles into his own. 2 core flips here on the side of Core Requiem as they look to push up and secure this last barrier and the point.
Yeah, core flip Requiem getting rid of the first one, but somehow getting the barrier in the process, and with the demon angle, getting the goal as well. Coin just barely not up in time. Right now, Flopdop also taking a lot of damage. You know, with this Rasmus Kai team, I didn't expect there to be as much damage, but I guess a Giga Blast with the Kai primary just keeping them staggered, maybe that's just enough. And honestly, with just how much damage naturally happens on this map, it can be a little difficult to stay alive because sometimes you just have to be involved, otherwise your team gets run over. But right now, the only person getting run over a little bit is Xeno Gemini, as Coin's putting a lot of pressure here. Even if they don't have the core over there, it's not quite an Oki situation, but it is just a lot of damage being thrown that way, even through the pauldrons. But right now, Striker Kai is the next one on the chopping block, it seems, as they get staggered. Loki going for some punches on flop drop, and a kill onto Striker Kai, as now they have this 2v3 situation with the core behind the lock and Blobs on the assist. Kind of hard to hold it, but right there they just miss a couple strikes and suddenly that lock is still alive, but Loki is looking like he's about to not be. Xeno Gemini is on the way out next with a core flip available. This could be a big play for them, but a good clear catching that core flip. Loki able to send it back even in the depths. But just as they go to the depths themselves, now we have another 2v3 situation. We have to see what they can do, even with these sound barriers, creating a little bit of awkwardness on the offense, as now Striker Kai goes up into the midfield, causing a little bit of havoc on this offense, but a good angle from the Juno Blob. With that 1-2 punch, we send it into the goal. We go to a Game 5 of this first set.
Such pressure there from Flop and Coin, really not letting Core Requiem breathe. The Fools know this is their shot. Their playoff hopes are dead, I believe, without a win. They're putting their all into it. Flop is in there on this Juno, putting so much pressure, and once again, both barriers are open on the side of Core Requiem, while the Fools still have both, and Flop with a great core flip just puts it right past Xeno Gemini. The first set goes over to them, and that looked pretty good after that first point.
Seems like they've definitely composed themselves a little bit, even in the face of all this damage. I'm just now noticing that it's a Siphoning Wand X, something that I wasn't quite putting into thought when I was thinking about how this damage was coming out, but that would make a lot of sense. The size going to the first, Rasmus Hotshot going to the second to deny that Juno. Siege Machine, one that I'm not particularly familiar with, and if this is the pick from Juno, it must mean that there isn't anything worth terribly denying. The Unstoppable could be big here, especially with the Pendulum Swing being one of the main ways that Rasmus can prevent a really bad situation in the goal net. So we'll have to see whether or not that works out for them between that and the Barrage. But right now, the Pendulum Swing from Xeno Gemini with that hot shot is just causing the core to go instantly. Right now, the only thing that's instantly going away is Coin's health bar as he hides in the goalie net, takes an orb, almost dies for it. Holding on to that evade, sometimes you have to be calculated with that, because if you don't burn it, you'll just die going for the orb. But there, Coin manages to stay alive. But right now, the only thing that's staying alive is the offense of Core Requiem as they keep it back here. And they're trying to keep Coin pressured, get it out from behind their lock, but also make a play of their own. Unfortunately, Xeno Gemini missing a couple abilities here. It's Loki with the Bell Ringer. Not quite own goaling there, but just a lot of pressure, as now Zoro trying to make some space and time to get Coin back up and healthy. As there we see it's Loki go down again. Zoro keeping the pressure up. That extra size on Rasmus really working out here just to keep the pressure up, as it's almost like they have a third forward now. The Barrage coming out, stalling for a little bit, not able to convert this on this power play, as now it's Loki's back. And now Xeno Gemini walking up themselves, Striker Kai recognizing, oh, my goalie's up here, I need to back up just in case things go awry. The Blob not quite able to get it with that 1-2 punch, but they are able to get it to Loki as he punches it in. Zoro with no HP even through pauldrons. That's just a nightmare if you're a goalie.
It was so much damage coming out from this side of Core Requiem. I'm realizing now that it's actually the Kai Barrage with that, I guess, just the build different. Just so much damage coming out from Striker Kai. They let him have that Unstoppable, probably because, you know, Juno Blobs will break it, but it doesn't matter if Juno Blobs will break it sometimes, because sometimes you'll just be able to allow it to push up, and sometimes Xeno Gemini will step up with a great Rasmus primary, and suddenly Core Requiem's up 2-0 after the Fools fought back in that first set, and a barrier goes down within the first 5 seconds. There's so many difficulties that are being run into by the Fools here, but a lot of difficulties being run into by everyone. Core flip after core flip after core flip, used 3 deaths pretty quickly, not even in this game, but Zoro owned barriers, and Xeno Gemini is not going to let him forget that. Loki and Striker Kai are also closing in, but a good clear from Floptop at least buys a little bit of time for the Fools to try and manage this point, but it's such a tough position to come back from, already down 0-2 in the set.
Speaking of going down, coin goes down, that health bar dwindling ever so slightly. And you have to wonder, we were talking about that unstoppable being the thing broken. If they score this point here off of this offense, you have to wonder if it's the mental of the fools that's going to get broken, as the only thing that happened in that 2v1 power play that they had was getting their own lock taken. So now as we go into this next draft, a little unfortunate as the core kind of just slips through everybody on the field. As now Xeno Gemini perhaps getting a chance to get size of their own. But we do see quick strikes come up, so that might be the goalie pick. Maybe rapid fire if
Spark of leadership.
But with so many sparks already on the table, it's a little hard to take that, especially with I don't know if there was one in the first draft, but it seems like they disagree with me entirely and say, you know what, even if you get 2 sparks here, this is great. We see a spark go to Zentaro, a little bit of extra health, the spec training helping confirm those kills. Rapid fire, quick strikes, both amazing awakenings for the characters they're on, and that Deadeye could work out as just another core speed option. But right now, the only option is whether or not they can survive this next round. As we see the Barrage come out, the Giga Blast come out, all the Blobs come out, and a lock go down. But Coin also potentially going down here as all this damage comes onto him. We have to see if he can escape this nightmare.
Coin has Spark of Resilience, and they still just walked up to him and did that in the first few seconds. But look at Flop and Zoro combining to just bully Loki for a little while. Zoro, though, cannot get the correct dribble to get it past Striker Kai, and Loki has healed back up a little bit, at least enough to play the game again. One barrier left on either side, and it really feels very, very swingy in terms of the way the pressure is going. Coin staggered, but manages to get the kill, gets taken down by Xeno Gemini, forces the flip there, not quite the angle this time, but it buys time. We're waiting 4 seconds here, Coin is already back up. Zoro grabs Striker Kai, tries to push him away, overtime with a barrier left on each side, and Xeno's ult cannot quite get it into a good spot. The core is going so fast now, and this is such a close point and such a close game so far.
Yeah, especially now that that lock is down. Actually, well, both of them are down and the goalie down as well. The bull rush coming through off of that core flip, really just creating an awful situation when your goalie is down. But yeah, that point was, these are some Looney Tune deaths where people are getting hooked left and right, exit stage left. But right now we start at the top side instead of the left side, and we have to see whether or not they can get this offense going. As the death touch has already come out, that kill confirm already gone, will be a little bit before they get that back, especially if they start racking up the damage early. That could be a potential missed kill, just like this is a missed lock. The core flip is available, but unfortunately a missed angle as they take their own lock. We have to see if they can get past Coin. They cannot. This core flip comes out. The Giga Blast just barely missing the timing, and Flop Dog stealing a gold there, even at 1 HP, narrowly avoiding death, getting to refill their health bar as we go into this next round.
I'm unsure, genuinely, if that Giga Blast got any piece of that core flip. It seemed like the angle changed to me a little bit halfway through. Might have been that. Unfortunate if so. I watched that specialized training from Zoro come in and yank Loki away from the core. Both the health bars on the side of Core Requiem are so low, and both barriers still up on the other side. Flop Flop jumping forward, getting it up to Coin, who stalls it out with the Zentaro primary. Puts it in the bottom with the passive. Xeno did not have a chance to do anything with that one. And the Fools, there we go. 2-1. Need this point to go up a set.
As it goes into the hands of Striker Kai, we see it immediately fly back to Xeno Gemini. Zoro with these ults has been really great on securing these kills. Xeno Gemini, it's sort of like a battle of the two ults, right? Because Xeno has that hot shot on their ult. So if they need the core gone, they can get it out. But Zoro says, alright, I'm just going to use my ult to kill people. This is great. Zoro holding on to that flip, not needing to use it yet, but in the face of Loki, who has a flip of their own. They try to use the X Maximus to deny that core flip out, but unfortunately it does get out. They do get a lock, though. Another flip has to come out as the angle is just a little awkward. Zoro has stepped up, even in the face of death, saying, alright, well, if I'm going to go out, I'm going to go out with a bang. They try to bang this core into the lock, but it doesn't quite happen. Striker Kai keeping complete control. Loki trying to set up for a core flip play. Xeno Gemini up. Not able there. The core flip a little unfortunate. And I'm beginning to wonder in sets like these if it's maybe worth it to just burn and evade so that you don't get to max core flip, just so you have more evades total over the course of the game, just so you can survive. Right now, they're surviving with that clear, but unfortunately, the primary from Zentaro does sneak it back in. Xeno Gemini giving an honest effort, but maybe a little dishonesty in that primary as they win that round. We go into this fourth draft.
What a great try from Xeno Gemini, almost managing it. And now we see Zentaro taking the Spark of Strength, took that Spark of Resilience, getting to deny the strength stacking on the side of Core Requiem. Huge for them, but Fight or Flight is so big for its Loki. Doesn't have those, doesn't have the slick kicks, has the siphoning one instead, but with 1, 2, and quick strikes and Fight or Flight, its Loki's really, really going to be able to stick to people and get so much damage and utility out there with that.
Another consideration is that with how people are getting staggered left and right, that second use isn't actually just, it's not just cosmetic. That could be very real for staying alive with that siphoning wand and also getting locks. But right now, the only locks being taken are the side of the Fools. They get one of their own in turn, but right now, this is just such a mess. There's a player down already. There's a barrage happening. X Maximus. There's no saving that. That is just a despicable round for the side of Core Requiem.
Sometimes that's how it goes on Demon Days, right? Sometimes you just get an early kill and the core's in the right place and you get so much pressure. And sometimes you put a blob in the right place and get a barrier instantly and jump forward, and then both barriers are down within the first 10 seconds, as Flop is showing us such strength on this Juno pick on Demon Days. It's not one of the big picks that I would call here, but again, just a secondary, hits it into the primary, 1-2 punch, so much speed, puts it away, doesn't give Xeno a chance to save it, and the Fool's just right back here again.
These rounds are so back and forth. We see Loki fly it back and forth with that Death Touch come out. They're almost losing their second lock there. Striker Kai keeping the pressure up. The barrage is good. We have a core flip available, but Coin potentially dying here, looking for the Death Touch. A little predictable, however, as they manage to evade it just fine. The core flip putting them in a predicament. The sound barrier's not quite messing up that angle. They were able to keep it out. Right now they're trying to see if they can get it back to its Loki, but one of the problems is when they have that person playing defense, they have two people in the neck, so it can be a little troublesome for characters like X to get it through. But right there, when both players are down, Striker Kai, seemingly out of nowhere, just sneaks it into the one side where it's open, as now 2 core flips are available for the side of Core Requiem, looking like Core Flip Requiem, as now we see them instantly take their own lock. As I say that, this Requiem's looking more like a dirge with how many people are dying, honestly. And with that, Zentaro will come out. The passive is available, almost getting enough energy there off of the passive, but not quite, as now the flip is still available, but used to kill. And we have to see if they can make this 2v3 happen. As it gets to its Loki, the lock is good. The blobs holding the core for them, losing a lock of their own. Coin almost managing to get the possession there. Could have potentially gone for something. A good stall with the primary. A flip still available. The Unstoppable actually protecting from the flip and just turning it into a raw strike war, which they managed to win. And as Xeno Gemini's going for that kill, the blobs have other things to say about it.
Xeno killed Fwop, but Fwop had the last laugh there for sure. The blob puts it into the top corner and the Fools are on match point here. Watch the blobs from Fwop, but watch Fwop's health immediately half from just one interaction there. Striker Kai's barrage does a lot to help keep the core forward, but when they actually get the rotation here just like that, Zoro to Fwop, the blob ends up getting the kill, the Deadeye helping to finish these staggered targets from the side of the Fools. Core Requiem defending desperately. Xeno uses the core flip, and we have Loki back up. It's a really close point, close situation. Overtime is coming. All the barriers are still up even now, and this is going to be a really close one for the fate of this fourth set here, Dendar.
You know, you said overtime is coming, and all I could think of is winter is coming, because that's just how oppressive this feels when you have that 1-2 Juno. You have this hotshot Rasmus sitting the core everywhere. The barrage locking it down, keeping it behind the lock. Coin almost back up. Zoro keeping possession straight into their own lock. as Coin looks to get it out. Oh, but the goalie dies, saving it, and then it instantly comes back. Loki with the bull rush takes this to a set 5. And man, these rounds are just brutal.
You know, I've seen better Rasmus ults. I've seen better Rasmus ults. I've seen Zoro in better Rasmus ults. That one is just unfortunate. These huge barriers, the huge circles. Sometimes you just don't know quite the angle that you're looking for, and sometimes it makes that sort of thing happen. But at the very least, for the side of Core Requiem, we do see that spark of focus come out for Xeno Gemini. 2 sparks, and at least gets to share those lowered cooldowns around. Stagger Swagger as well for its Loki. Probably pretty big for these situations. So much damage coming down. Being able to survive, getting that source of healing in an otherwise healing-free game, besides, you know, Siphoning Wand, I suppose counts, is kind of huge. It could be huge if the Fools are not able to clear out these kills when he's staggered efficiently. These Juno blobs, though, with Monumentalist are going to be absolutely massive. You see the speed coming off of a 1-2 there. The barrier does end up going down, but Zoro finds the clear angle around its Loki. Flop hits Loki as well, but he goes ahead and picks up that that little energy thing. You can see he's already unstaggered. Stagger Swagger really putting in work, not letting them have extra time to work with. But Striker Kai's core flip is so good here. Gets that kill, gets pressure, and Xeno own barriers as well. That's the Rasmus life on this map, but can't quite get it in there. Loki quite low. Coin and Flop Flop working on him, but Stagger Swagger again, huge, and a great snipe there from Xeno Gemini. Hot shot. You called it out earlier. The speed that came out of that hot shot core just got it right through Zoro, under the blobs. Great job for Core Requiem.
Notable takeaway from that round, that recovery drone is gone, so if the pressure's up on Zoro at an important time with this last set, that could be a round ender. But right now we see both flips get used, one defensively, one offensively, and the offensive one seemingly not getting as much as they would have liked, only getting 1 lock here, but they get 2 of their own for the side of Core Requiem, as now Loki parts the Red Sea, just mashes both players to the sides and says, make way, X Maximus is coming through.
That's tough. That's tough. That was a great jump from Ins Loki. That core flip bought so much space. Wop Wop could not quite get down there in time. But the Fools showing they don't want to lose this one immediately. Loki staggered again. Immediately, Loki back up again. But that time it takes to heal still means that the Fools were able to press forward. Flop Flop able to get both barriers. Striker Kai now with the core looking for it, but Flop Flop steals it away in front of the enemy goal. Zoro can't quite save that one either. Striker Kai is there, but that blob will push it farther forward. Unfortunately slips through the Zentaro ultimate. Striker Kai and it's Loki almost combined. Xeno hot shot. It's good for goals for both teams.
And I was just thinking that with this being the Fools map pick, it would be really unfortunate for them to end up losing out here. But Xeno Gemini may be thinking the same thing and saying, you know what, I got you, homie. Throws it into their own net. I've been there too many a time with Hotshot and Rasmus. I understand that pain of just the flip, it coming back to you a little too fast, not being able to get it. There, Loki getting a good kill though. The core flip is available, putting pressure on Coin with that barrage. Now we have a 3v1 situation. How they score this is going to be up to them, but they have infinite chances. Striker Kai kind of just looking pretty on the top side, not really getting much of the action there. But right now with this core flip, they could have a part of the action, but the blobs intercepting that action. Now we could be seeing potentially a set 5 if they go into it. Coin trying to keep up the pressure with the EI dash, and they get it in there with a great redirect. No strike war involved, just a good strike, and now we go into a game 5 of this last set. Really just a total swingy back and forth, like you said. And now we have to see if this core flip is going to be good enough for them, but almost no energy on anyone else. It could be a little troublesome if Loki doesn't get max value, but here they have no problem getting the value they need as they get the lock there with that flip. And we could be going into potentially the last point of this set with that hot shot helping out on this offense. We see the Death Touch try to come out, disrupt this offense. Not quite. Loki almost getting a point there. Not able to quite yet. The Unstoppable still available here for Kai. It goes down as I say that. The barrage coming through. Giga Blast almost putting it in an angle. Hot Shot almost giving them another chance. But right now it's just Strike Wars left and right for It's Loki. If they can get in there, this could be the point that wins them the map. But otherwise, they could be dying soon.
Oh, damn, what a good shot there from It's Loki. Striker Kai with the Giga Blast. Absolutely just smashes Wump Wump away and ends up with a 1-0 for Core Requiem in this match. Such a close game coming down to the absolute last point, last set. Look at these saves. 118 saves for Zoro and 63 saves for Xeno Gemini. It really tells a story of one Rasmus that was able to step up a little bit more and help their offense keep the core in, and one that was being forced to make these saves over and over again. The other story here, 9 kills total from the side of the Fools and 12 just from It's Loki, 9 from his teammates, 21. So many kills from the side of Core Requiem. It did not matter how much pressure the Fools were able to put out. Core Requiem just kept finding these power plays over and over and over again. 55,000 damage on X? That's so much.
I feel like normally that damage would be a little lower because I feel like most people would be taking the Vicious Vambraces there instead of the Siphoning one, but that Siphoning one damage really showing just how great it could be, as they really did keep the pressure up in the numbers, and it really showed in how their offense was able to just keep pressing and pressing and pressing, much like X at the gym, the bench presses. But we have to see if they go into this night market game next, if they can keep pressing that offense, or something like the speed gate adding to the mix could be potentially bad for them. Which team is able to utilize it more is kind of the question here. But right now we're just waiting to see when that game is going to happen. But yeah, when you look at these stats, like when you think of that game, there's a lot of times where you think the focus sort of on Coin trying to survive, or Loki in a 3v1 mosh pit fighting for their life, but also trying to get that goal in the process. You know, players like Striker Kai and Flop Drop, they still have high redirects. Like, even though those Juno blobs were just 1-2 punches, just only need to touch it one time, send it downfield, they still had a ton of action in that game. Coin having a little bit more redirects than Loki there, but Loki making the few redirects they got really just impactful. And honestly, it's just going to be a little tough if they do, because they are down this game, and when you're going to your opponent's map pick down a game, it can be stressful, especially after a long drawn out set like that where there's tons of punches thrown left and right. We kind of just got to see if they can keep the mental up.
Yeah, it's certainly a tough one to come back from. I'm really looking at Zoro trying to be able to take a deep breath here, exhale, and stop own barriering. I understand the struggle on that map, especially when you're looking for these clears and you're like, it's gonna go down if I don't hit a great clear. I need to just try for this, and if it owned barriers, so be it. But take a breath. You don't have that issue anymore. It's night market. The barriers are a different shape. Those big straight ones are much easier to defend. There's so much less surface area, so much less places that you have to run around in. And I feel like you just put that game behind you and you gotta lock in. Both the Rasmuses kind of did a lot of damage to themselves in that game, and I'm really interested to see if those picks come out here again on Night Market. I know that it's a pretty good choice here as well. Some people really do like that, but I'm hoping we get to see some more aggressive in terms of pushing forward goalies. Kind of doubt that. Think we'll probably see the more defensive lock it in style, but hey, who knows, right?
Well, one thing I'm concerned about is we did see that era the first game before the remake happened, and so I'm curious if that could come back for this map because I know Era is a character that if those tornadoes really get going, they can just lock down a lane by themselves and force you to play somewhere else if they just don't want you there. And when you get down to a situation where, let's say, each side has one lock, sometimes them saying you're not allowed to play here can just defuse an entire offense and just give you so much breathing room and time. But honestly, with like how just oppressive they were playing that last game, maybe they don't want to give that time. They want to say, okay, well, rather than making you take time to think, how are we going to push our offense now? We're just going to make sure you never get one. But it looks like we're just waiting on the players right now. I'm not sure what the delay is unless we got the spectator bug and just don't know it, but I don't think that's the case. But honestly, even though that game was brutal, just tons of deaths left and right, tons of barriers gone. Like even with like some of Zoro's hooks, like I wouldn't say they were bad hooks. They were just a little unfortunate on the angle or maybe like a slight mechanical thing, but they were still good attempts that I don't want them to feel like they should be discouraged just because they didn't go right. You should say, okay, I know why they went wrong, but I know that I made a good choice in the process. I just need to clean it up a little bit. So I don't want to see these players potentially getting into that mental fatigue as well, because when you're constantly losing stamina in a match, like this is game that was set 5, game 5, tons of back and forth. Like now when you go into this next game, it's hard to just reset that mental sometimes because you just spent so much time fighting for your life that even though it is a new game, they aren't exactly new faces, and sometimes that can be enough to just keep you down for a game or two until you realize, okay, I can just lock in here, just take a second to step back, like you said, just take that moment to breathe, recognize it's a different map, different opportunities, and honestly, we just got to see how they approach it.
Yeah, it's we were really just waiting here to find out the way that they're going to approach it, and luckily enough, seems like the queue is actually starting, and we are going to get this night market game going. Absolutely huge 2-0 for Core Requiem on the table here. The Fools on their last gas really, really need this one, and they are going to do their absolute best with this 1-2 punch again, and Timeless Creators start. What do you think about that, Dendar?
I think I fully agree with this Juliet ban that's about to come out. That's for sure. I could see the Juno ban for the side of Core Requiem, but honestly, with 1-2 punch, there is the consideration that it's kind of going to be good on no matter what goalie they pick. And with Timeless, you could think, okay, maybe like an Atlas, or we see the Dubu get picked here, and I think that those are fine. But I think there's a lot of times where sometimes that 1-2 punch really can just keep the core out a little bit better than something like a slightly longer log. But it just depends on the enemy comp. We see the Kai X again. They seem to really favor that. Xeno Gemini looking for this Mako, a great goalie pick, which sometimes it feels like it can be impossible to get it through that character. And right now, the side of the Fools grouped up almost like they had an arrow on their team, but they just said, you know what, we think it's going to be over here. We make sure we get there first. Coin keep starting this offense up. Wild Drop instantly dead again, looking like the last game. But it is level 1. The stagger is base low, so we do have to see how they'll survive that. But right now, the only thing that's surviving is the offense of Core Requiem. I say, but they instantly get doubled. The Giga Blast almost making it a third as they could have gotten that goal. But now, with the Bell Ringer off of the Tofu Fortress, sending it back a little bit, they did give more time. Coin fighting for his life as he tries to survive here, sticking to those middle barriers, trying to help control the speed gate, just to say, you know what, I'm going to run away from this damage as it's happening to me. But with orbs dwindling left and right, not as many options, Loki pressing up on this offense, we have to see whether or not he can really just survive. Goes for the Strike War there, doesn't quite get it. Back in the hands of the Fools, as now the speed gate comes up, giving them a lot of options to get around this core flip, but Coin can't seem to get around this damage as he is still staggered. It seems like this is just never going to end for him, but eventually this offense will have to, as Coin sneaks it in with that 1-2 punch, an excellent diversion, and a good hook to get it in and just force Xeno into a 50-50. And those long 50-50s like that, Mako can have a little bit of struggle with as they don't have that high mobility. So that was a great play by Coin, saying, even though I'm out of the play, I'm not out of the game, and really just securing a good point for their team. And what seemed like kind of they were in the depths there for a bit, constantly playing that 2v3. Right now they try to make it another as they put this offense on flop drop, with the flip almost taking the kill, but Coin taking the barrier instead. Now we have to see how Flop is going to survive this offense, as he does have the energy to survive. Zoro having a flip to keep the defense alive. So now we just have to see whether or not they use it. They do. It gets back to the hands of Loki. The orb goes to them as well. Coin looking to potentially build up a core flip of their own. Oh, Zoro, unfortunate angle, but sometimes those things just happen. You go for an angle and it's just slightly off. And right now, Loki and Kai trying to get on that offense, not quite able to there as the bottom lane is available. Flop taking a little bit of time just to breathe, create a situation where they can maybe form an offense, but it's just giving them time to kill Coin. As now the Tofu Fortress actually saving him. Those donuts looking more like life rafters as they keep him afloat here, even while staggered. Good evade on that bell ringer. The hook trying to keep alive, the barrage trying to kill, the core flip trying to maintain possession. Just so much is happening here. Player finally goes down, but it's not Coin this time. It's actually Loki, the person who's been on this offense so hard, trying to keep the pressure up. Zoro helping out, keeping it in their hands, but right now we do see that flip come out, so the defense is still fine. Coin almost sneaking that in, even at 1 HP. We have to see how he'll be able to survive here. The Swap Drop wins that Strike War, keeping it out. The Giga Blast not quite able to defuse that primary. Flop missing a strike there, maybe a little scared to stand near the ledge, especially with that Bull Rush potentially with X Maximus coming through. A good kill confirm on this map, reminiscent of a Juliet dash punch. The log comes out, not quite able to hold it. Coin just trying to survive, and really this is just a battle of survival for one player at a time.
This is such a kill fest in the making. They are looking for these kills everywhere. So many core flips being burned. Coin finally gets the better of the core Requiem on that dribble ninjas to put it past Xeno Gemini to take that barrier so far into overtime. The barrage is not quite enough to put it away, but that dash from its Loki is enough to put it past Zoro, and that is a great job by Striker Kai, just catching the core flip, putting it right back. Zoro did not have the time to respond. Great job on the second point there by Striker Kai, putting up so much pressure. But you can see the levels in this game. These points are lasting so long. Zoro and Xeno Gemini already level 4. All of the forwards level 3. There's so much XP in this game. We're going to see so much stagger at an early point. And I really wonder what it's going to do with in a match like this for so much power to already be coming out. It's Loki able to actually get that with the flip, then dashed, and then puts it in, beats the strike, just has more buttons than you. And that's X's job. Put the core in the net, and great job by It's Loki doing so.
Loki says rock in hand can win, and right now they're trying to win on this offense again as the bell ringer takes a lock. The barrage, a little bit of a miss trying to keep that in, but that's alright because they do manage to get it back. They spin a barrage of their own to keep it out, and now a lock goes down. 2 locks, in fact. A great pendulum swing by Coin. Death Touch almost making it to them, but right now with this ensnare drum keeping Coin out of the play, it's back to a 2v3 as now they have to figure out what they can do in this situation. Coin, a little bit of pressure on them with that bell ringer, but their health finally looking safe for once this match. But this barrier is looking a little difficult to take. The Dubu roll not quite working out though. The Giga Blast getting it downfield. A little stacked on the forwards, but that's alright. They managed to spill it up. Zoro not able to get anything there, just able to clear it out. Coin getting cleared into the stands. And it feels like every game is just a 2v3 one way or another. Right now, Flubdog trying to just keep this midfield alive, even in the face of this power play. The secondary from Mako coming out. The Giga Blast, a good attempt, but just a little bit off as they don't strike it right away. Flubdog going for another attempt. Doesn't quite get it. The bell ringer comes out. Another flip is available. Now we see why Egoist has been taken out of the game with just with these players being so good, these rounds going so long, energy is plentiful. But right now, Xeno Gemini going for a little bit of energy of their own with that orb and losing the barrier and the goal in the process. That's a little bit tough, but at the same time, sometimes you need to build up those flips. But right now, they're building it up with that in secondary. It's just so tough when both barriers go down, but so does a player.
That Coin just absolutely vanished on this point. Coin scored that last goal on the other point, but I was watching and I saw him take flops help away from him. He took the relic as Flop was just trying to heal at the very end, and if that core had actually not gone in, it would have been a much different story. A very dangerous situation, much like this one. Core Flip comes out of Zoro, Giga Blast out of Flop, looking to be comboed. Unfortunately, can't get it. Xeno Gemini still holding onto this flip, even with no barriers remaining. Zoro does not have evade, so it's Loki is on top of him. Zoro trying to survive. That triple from Flop is maybe not it, but that roll definitely isn't. Coin, though, gets possession back, pushes it forward. Zoro is dying, but there's no core flip here on the side of Xeno Gemini. A good shot from either team could finish this off. The Dubu wall buys time, but eventually Dubu dies. The core flip from Striker Kai defending by Flop Flop, but it's Loki is there on the rebound, puts it in. Core Requiem again wins another close set, takes the first set here, gets I don't know, specialized training, spark of strength, fight or flight. Lots of good choices here for this first pick X. Specialized it is.
You did mention the specialized, and there it is taken. We see the fight or flight. I think this is more partially to keep Striker Kai from just dominating this midfield, but also a little bit of a defensive measure here, as when they're getting staggered by Loki, it'll give them another chance at that summer assault, sort of like a budget core flip and like a hey get off me tool. We see another hotshot Rasmus come out, and we do see the Unstoppable come out again. Very familiar awakenings this draft. We'll have to see if it plays out a little bit differently than Demon Deus, but right now the Unstoppable keeping Flop Dropper alive. McCoy a little struggling on the health department, as right now they go down. We see the potential snipe from the primary, not quite getting it. They're really going for this double barrier here. They only get one in the process. The Tofu Fortress has to come out to defuse this. The speed gate comes. Loki approaching that ball, not able to do much. The Unstoppable goes down. The barrier stays up. Flop Dog helping with that angle, redirecting it just a little bit to help get the defense a little bit more situated. Right now we see the pendulum swing almost get a barrier, but it appears the core flip is what's going to take it here. Flop Dog is trying to keep it down lane when they recognize, okay, we have an open barrier. We really need to just keep this offense alive, or if it gets back to us, Loki is just going to punch it in.
That's such good use of that strike reset on your ultimate 4x. Loki knows exactly what to do to push it past Zoro there. It's so tough for the side of the Fools to push past Xeno Gemini here. Timeless Creator and Ariel's doing a lot of work here for this Mako, but as I start talking, the caster curse is obviously real. Otherwise, how would you get a point like that? However, two core flips here on the side of Core Requiem. One barrier with one, the other still held onto, but Zoro is almost at his own. Keeping it safe here, has his core flip now, will probably be able to get good clears here. But you can see Loki standing right next to Coin, and you can see the 2-level advantage that both of the both of the forwards here have on the side of Core Requiem from the Fools. So much more stagger to work with, so much more power here. Just so hard for them to really be able to work under these conditions. The Dubu wall will buy time, but Mako has a wall of her own on her spacebar, and the core flip to boot. Gets it down to Loki, who still has his core flip, ends up using it, doesn't get the barrier, but gets the core flip. They're all burned now, Dendara, and there's still one barrier to go for the side of the Fools.
Oh, these 1-2 punch passes back and forth, really making you keep your eye on the ball. It's like the 3-shell game. But right now, the only shell they're trying to crack is the shell of this Turtle Dubu, this defensive powerhouse. But the 1-2 punch, getting it past. Actually, I believe Xeno Gemini is one of the few players who doesn't have 1-2 punch, but it doesn't matter because Coin has just punched it into their goal as they go into this round 3. These passes are so fast, it can be a little hard to keep track sometimes. It appears a player has disconnected. A little difficulty here. We'll see. We'll have to take a pause here for a minute, see where it's Loki has gone. Look, I know people are dying left and right, but let's keep it in the game, okay?
Okay, let's take a second here to breathe while Loki is gone. Just deep breath in. Okay. What's the situation in this game? Xeno Gemini is level 8, Striker Guy is level 7. Just assume for a second that it's Loki is going to be able to reconnect. There's so much strength here on the side of Core Requiem. 1-2 punch plus this spark of strength on Kai means these little barrages that Striker Kai really manages to just weave in are putting down so much damage, and when its Loki comes back, if he's really able to just finish those kills up that Striker Kai really sets up for him. I do really, really like the build here on Xeno Gemini as well, that Aerials and Timeless Creator. That ultimate is really your last ditch, your last grasp sometimes. And it's so good to buy space, especially with that Timeless Creator. I don't... it's going to be really interesting if and when its Loki gets back here, because that core is going to go very, very fast already at the start of overtime. And if Coin gets a hotshot ability onto it, I don't know how anyone on the field is really going to be able to react to it going from 0 to 100 quite that quickly.
Honestly, we just gotta wait to see if fourth player of the Fools, player known as Spectrum Internet, manages to release their grip on Loki's internet and let them back into this game. But right now, we're really just waiting, and we don't know how long we're going to be waiting, or if there's a regulation on how long the player has to come back. I'm not familiar with that. But like you said, when we come back to this, the core is going to be flying, and there's Loki flying back into the game as they reconnect here. We'll have to see how they decide to start this back up. I assume it'll just be a dribble back and forth. Okay, we get it back.
Dribble it back onto your own side. That's very, very fair. Good job, Xeno Gemini. There's that ultimate, just trapping Coin for an extended period of time. Coin already not in a good spot immediately. He's dead. Used that core flip and immediately got killed for it, Dendar.
We see Fogdrop with their own core flip, but right now one of the problems that we had going back into this is, one, the core is moving a million miles an hour. Two, there's a hot shot and 1-2 punch on the table. Three, with those orbs available, because how much time had passed, people have a little bit more energy than maybe they're supposed to. As right now we see this core flip come through, the energy burned and a goal gained. As, honestly, that was a lightning round, considering just how it started. But now we go into this next one, a little bit slower paced, a little bit easier to manage. We'll see how they approach this, but right now the hot shot almost scoring on their own barrier there. Zoro awake at the wheel saying, you know what, I see this is coming back to me, let me fix that. Core flip available for Striker Kai, but the barrier is not, as Coin almost secures two there. But the good save, Zoro with an unfortunate summer assault, as now they have to defend against this offense with a core flip available. The core flip comes out, the barrier goes down, Xeno Gemini on the offense, as now we have to see if they can pick it back up. Striker Kai looking for a situation where they can get involved, just playing second goalie here expertly. As they get it past Wildrop, the Giga Blast comes out. Loki just looking for anything in this net, saying, if you get me this core, I will find a way. And right now they do find it, as that somersault barely misses Loki, and he finds the core in between the two players and into their net.
Xeno was cooking there, ran all the way up there as Mako used the speed boost in the middle. Luckily, Striker Kai was there also to make sure their barrier stayed safe, otherwise that Mako would have been a little bit caught out. Much in the same way, Coin seems to keep getting caught out by its Loki. So much damage coming out here from this X. You see Xeno pass the core forward and immediately start charging that secondary. Let his team really get those buffs and hopefully do some work with them. Can't quite get it this time. In fact, all barriers still remaining as the situation evens up again. It's Loki and Zoro both used core flips, very, very low on energy, but Loki is still pushing forward and Striker Kai is there too. Xeno Gemini walking again up to midfield. One barrier down, doesn't care, still willing to put this pressure forward. Loki and Striker Kai box Zoro in, don't let him get anything there besides Guild, and a core flip from Xeno Gemini just for the tempo, and Loki with that secondary, that spin coming out of that X, such a good job puts the core into the net along with someone else. I believe it was Coin. Could have been Flop Dwop. Doesn't really matter. The most thing that really matters is Spark of Leadership is right there. And I'm gonna assume that they're going to force Flop Dwop to deny it here, knowing that they're on match point.
There is some argument maybe for them just taking it and saying, okay, we're up 2 sets, we have plenty of time to scale. But I think making them deny when they're down 2 sets, just denying them, essentially denying them an awakening, especially in this most crucial round where they need to win 2 in a row. If they lose this one, it's really going to be tough for them. As now we go into the set, the Loki with a little bit bigger bell ringer with that demolitionist. We have to see if that size is going to help out with the scoring, but it's honestly, I don't think he's really had any trouble with it at this point. If it gets to him, he's making miracles happen. This Tofu Fortress, though, with the missile propulsion, really able to apply enough pressure, but unfortunately it just slips straight through. A little bit of a known issue with that ultimate, but right now the issue is that he's dead and is not coming back for another 10 seconds, and this barrier is never coming back as they score it. The orb available, the barrage, ooh, a slight misangle there on the dribble to get it out. But right now we have the 3v3 in the net. Xeno priming up that primary, not quite making it down. Zoro getting a clear through. Loki going for a strike, not quite getting it. Coin and Flop on the offense now, using that speed gate to try to make something happen here. The speed gate times out, however, so a little bit lackluster offense, but now they managed to get it back. Zoro with a good somersault and a good Tofu Fortress to get it out, recognizing, hey, things are going bad. I need to press the big red button. As now it gets back to them, the big red X is on top of them. No core flip available, but coming soon to a theater near you. If these punches keep going, there it is. It's available. The flip comes out. The log comes out in turn. Coin having a flip of their own. Striker Kai using the flip to get it up. But another great summer assault coming out. It feels like we just saw that button come into play, but I guess that's that, oh, what's this called? The fight or flight helping out there. I don't know. An unfortunate strike with... Doesn't matter what awakenings they have if they just don't strike the core.
I've never seen something that looked more like lag in my life. And I know, I was lagging right before that on my spectator client. Unfortunate there for Flop Dwop, not able to save it. Zoro's ultimate, these donuts go so far, last so long now. So much pressure forward here. I was going to remark on what a good ultimate Zoro had last point as well. The timing ended up essentially eating Xeno Gemini's core flip as well, but this time just has to use it so he can start to charge up evade. Flop Dwop here with that barrage, gets the barrier. Suddenly Coin puts it right past Xeno Gemini, and the Fools, they seem to be getting these quicker points sometimes, not going into overtime again. 35 seconds to get both barriers and the goal. And if Zoro defends like he has on these last few points, the Fools absolutely have a chance, and that forcing them to deny that spark of leadership is one strategy, but it could backfire pretty badly for the side of Core Requiem if we see Flop Dwop end up getting first pick in another draft, getting a really key spark, possibly the resilience to help prevent things like that from happening. But core flip used, Zoro dead, 6 seconds, and the barrage is enough for Striker Kai to put it in the top match point here for Core Requiem.
At that point, there was just nothing you could do between the barrage, the X standing on the other lane, and you sitting in the middle saying, well, you're probably wondering how I got in this situation. But the situation now is Zoro with very little energy, trying to defend, gets it back to Coin. Coin with the death touch, keeping this offense alive. Flop just trying to control that speed gate, and I think I do see perhaps the assassins that came after Loki now coming after Flop. But right now, the only assassin here is Loki getting that kill onto Coin once again. A couple passes back and forth, no barrier taken, some good stalling coming out, but we just have to see a good strike war. Especially when you have a player down, you need to stall for things like that. Getting those strike wars are huge. The Whiplash helping with the speed, getting the core out, and right now it's back in the hands of Loki, a terrifying situation if you're the goalie. Right now Coin saying, you know what, I'm just as scary when I get this core up to me. He goes for the barrier, doesn't quite get it. The core just out of his reach, not able to go for the second one there. As now we see Loki back in the mix, but out just as soon as he gets there, and it feels like this back and forth of, if it's on Loki, it could be catastrophic. If it gets past him, there's now two people in your net ready to take your barrier. Striker Kai almost getting taken to the stands there with that pendulum swing. The flip comes out. The instant flip, not giving Loki time to think about when to strike, just pressing it. Flop with a flip of their own. Some good passes left and right here. This barrier not quite going down though. As now we see Coin, a couple missed dribbles, but that's okay. Has possession, a great strike, but not aimed at the barrier. Loki getting the core once again, not pressing the flip there, looking for a more opportune time, I suppose. Right now with that bull rush no longer available, it could be a little tough. The barrier going down, not sure how you get this goal here, and almost an excellent angle, but not quite a great Giga Blast to keep possession. But right now we do see Loki once again having to burn that Tofu Fortress from Zoro, saying we have to do something to get this guy out of here. And with this X Maximus coming through, the goal not quite being taken. Xeno Gemini taking a quick dribble, reassessing, but unfortunately the secondary just sending it into their own net. Perhaps that fatigue starting to kick in, as now both sides are making very simple mistakes, but they are costing them quite a bit. We go into this next round, see Loki on the offense here. Not quite able to get anything. This core flip, a little scary to stand near the ledge, especially when the core constantly goes there. We see an early kill, Coin, going down to the Mako, but the barrier's going down in turn. Maybe if they just get this quick goal, they don't have to worry about him respawning. They just have to get this goal in. Right now, when it's in the hands of Loki, Loki has the flip available, the Giga Blast, keeping it out. Coin trying to just get this before it gets back to Loki. If it gets back to Loki with this flip, it could just be an instant goal, especially since Zoro was so low. But right there, the pendulum swing saves it. And now, like you said, this spark of leadership could come back to bite them. But it's Zoro on the first pick, giving them one chance to deny a spark should he be next. But it's actually two chances to deny, only one spark to deny. And we see the stagger swagger come up. And honestly, if you're Zoro, I don't blame you for picking it.
I think that's absolutely correct here for Zoro, taking the stagger swagger, being able to live just a little bit longer. But the situation that they have put themselves in, wow, they didn't deny it. They completely allowed the spark of focus to go onto Flop Dwop here. I don't know about that one from the side of Core Requiem. I suppose it's one of the... I suppose that's probably the lowest impact one. But all the same, it's generally... You can't... Having more cooldowns is always going to be good. That's always good for them. That gives Kai more barrages. That gives everyone more everything. I don't understand why you wouldn't deny this. After putting yourself in that spot, they just aren't scared of the spark stacking. I suppose they think once again, this is the set, we're just going to end it here. But I don't know. I don't like that decision. I don't know if they'll get punished for it, but I really don't like that one.
I believe, if I remember correctly, the only spark left available would be the Spark of Resilience, which if they get triple spark, Spark of Leadership, Resilience, it'll just take all of this killing, just send it straight down the drain. But right now, they're not worried about the future, they're worried about the now. They killed Coin once again, really just dribbling off of this Tofu Fortress, giving themselves plenty of time. Striker Kai not quite in the mix yet, but a Giga Blast almost getting an amazing pass there, an amazing call out. Loki not quite ready for it, but that's okay. They still managed to get the barrier there. But can they get the goal in the face of this core flip? The Unstoppable available, the core flip also available, but not use that death touch, putting a little bit of hit stun, just enough that they need. Loki with the recovery drone available, maybe able to play a little bit more greedy on the sides here. As right now Zoro holding onto that flip, maybe greed of their own, but if they can just keep getting it out like that, no greed involved here, just good gameplay. The Tofu Fortress once again. But where did Mako go? As the core gets to Coin and a gold goes in, were they just standing at the edge, or what happened?
That was a great Giga Blast from Flop Dwop that put Xeno in the goal. Absolutely deleted. Not sure if there was a barrage hit before that to mean that 1-2 punch was active, but the hook there from Coin pulled the core back at the exact same time. The core flip from Zoro doesn't get anything, and suddenly Loki is here, and with the core flip just uses the stun. Missing that core flip turns out pretty bad for Zoro. 1-1 here. That point pretty quick. That last one was so tough for them to watch, but all the same, it means it's 1-1, and suddenly the Fools are 2 points away from another possible spark, a 3 spark of leadership. And that would seem pretty good for the side of the Fools. That, however, is not. That's not. Great job by Loki and Striker Kai putting that goal in, not letting those donuts get in the way. Zoro dead. Poor Requiem, match point again.
Perhaps a little preemptive, a little trying to get that goal too early with that core flip going for the double, getting neither. As now we see the offense come back to the blue team here. The Fools looking to make a play off of this whiplash. Gets one barrier. Core flip still available. Should Striker Kai keep the core away from them, but unfortunately it slips right past them. And health is slipping away from Zoro as he goes down the core flip just to keep the defense alive. A good core flip to deny, a good pass to Loki off of the pass to Striker Kai, and a good strike from Loki. Flopdrop not having enough energy for evade there, perhaps looking for some way to avoid the bell ringer, the dash, but that's just not it. And unfortunately, that is the last round as we go in with a 2-0 victory, I believe, for Core Requiem.
Yeah, I feel like that was just not quite there for the side of the Fools, but there's so much work put in by all these players. Look at this, 334 redirects from Striker Kai. I know that gets inflated a little bit by Barrage, but 334 is quite a lot. Over 100 saves for each goalie as well. But the real stat here, 14 KOs for It's Loki. There were 2 on the other side and 3 from his teammates. 14 kills, absolutely dominating the pace of this. Well, only had 1 less redirect than Coin, but so much more damage, so many more KOs. It's Loki really just able to play this one really hard. To me, I don't know if this is accurate, but sometimes it felt like Coin's hot shot was not exactly helping with his dribbles. Seemed like it might have been throwing him off a little bit, not sure, but such a great job by Core Requiem, by Xeno Gemini, It's Loki, Striker Kai, all 3 of them. Such phenomenal performances and great job. Absolutely deserved that win. Great way to end your regular season.
For sure. And honestly, even though they did lose that game, there were plenty of amazing plays from the side of the Fools. Flopdrop being an excellent just midfielder saying, even if my goalie is under pressure, I can just keep it from getting to him so that he just has more time to breathe. Like Striker Kai having more redirects, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the impact was that astronomically different. But I've seen Striker Kai on this map before playing Drakkar, and honestly, the 300 redirects almost seems like a staple for this player on this map. It just feels like no matter what the situation is, who they're playing, they just have excellent control here. And it really shows in how their team was able to just keep the pressure up so much harder with 9 goal participation there, just between the 4 goals and the 5 assists. The 21 saves even coming out, really just helping the goalie in times of need. Xeno Gemini with 107 of their own. The damage not as high as last game, but still plenty of deaths here. The Striker Kai having 133 shots on the net. That's almost as much as Swap and Coin combined. That's honestly terrifying. But both teams played amazingly. Just one team played a little bit better. But honestly, if I'm either of those teams, I would not be feeling bad about that performance. They honestly all should feel great about how they did.
Yeah, a few unfortunate things for the side of the Fools, but you know what? If it's just a few unfortunate moments, that means that you're playing really well for the rest of it. It means that you're absolutely making the other team work. You're absolutely putting the pressure on. And now that that one is done, we do end up having a slightly clearer playoff picture. At least slightly. And looking at this, I'm looking at for Core Requiem over there. It it's pretty tough for them. I think they are getting probably 5th seed into the playoffs now. They have a chance. But up next we have PLX versus Plinkplonk. And Dundar, these are 2 really good teams. PLX is still 8-0 right now. Plink Plonk 6-2, looking to take a win from the current first place NASA team. And it's gonna be a tough one because PLX have selected Demon Days to start with again.
You know, I just commentated a game of Platinum exclusive and also Pling Pong, so I'm a little bit more familiar with these players this time. Moff and Koei really great on that Kazan goalie. We'll have to see if they're allowed to play that or whether or not that's going to get sniped from them, especially on Demon Deus, where that damage, even if you are a goalie and want to stay in closed form more often than not, can really just rack up with these clears. However, Platinum exclusive, like you said, 8-0, you know, the last time I saw them, they had player swaps seemingly left and right, just trying out new things, and they still were dominant in their performance. It seems like no matter who they field, they just have just infinite opportunities to just do whatever they want, and we'll have to see if they're able to get that stopped by the team of Plink Plonk. As, like you said, Demon Days is our first pick, with Taiko Temple being the second. Two very chaotic maps at times, so we'll have to see whether or not these players embrace that chaos or pick characters that allow them to sort of sit back for a bit and say, you know what, even though it is chaotic, we have options, we have plenty of time to figure out what it is, or if they're going to be like the side of Core Requiem and just say, nah, we're going for the face.
I, it's gonna be real interesting to see what happens here. I'm really, really excited for another Demon Days game. I do actually love this map. The little speed traps on the sides that show up after you get one barrier make some angles that you don't see anywhere else in this game, in my opinion. The black hole from Atlas Lab, our third pick, I believe, is similar in the same way. The gravity just bends it just a little bit, and I'm really interested to see what we're going to end up with here. Uh, um, what are the really big ones that can absolutely flip this map? What are the big? If we see a monumentalist start, surely we see a now ban. Surely we see a now ban anyway, unless both teams just want to pick it. It's such a warping character on this map in particular.
I think that another character that could potentially be really bad is if Finny gets a good awakening for their ultimate. Even on goalie, if they just walk up and slap that down, suddenly clearing the core is just a nightmare. The gravity well really just keeping the core in place, and sometimes that place is on your lock multiple times, no matter what you do. Oh my goodness, it can be tough to get that out. We've got Drew though with the notable, I believe, Zentaro player. The last time I saw them, and honestly, they were cooking. I would not want to play against them, that's for sure. So if it's a good start for that, could be really good for them. But right now, we're just waiting for the start of this game to see what the awakening options are. Perhaps another 1-2 punch game will be coming our way. But honestly, Fudgy Waffles, I know them for playing Estelle at times. So I know that that's not a particularly phenomenal pick on this map for the most part. You don't really see it all too often. But I mean, some players can make it work, obviously, don't get me wrong. But I feel like if we see them on the goalie side, I don't think we'll be seeing the Estelle from them. But I guess it really just depends on the awakenings and how they're feeling. As right now we go into this game, let's see what the starting awakenings are.
Oh, this is gonna be a big one.
And it is a 1-2 punch. Yep.
Dundar, I think we're cursed. I think we're getting 1-2 punch every single game today. The recovery drone also pretty big though on a map like this. Just one more life could mean the difference, at least in those early points. Oh, Juno banned, now banned. She's not here. Fudgy is not allowed to play that at all.
You made a great call on that now ban, and honestly, this stream looking like it's sponsored by Mike Tyson, the way these 1-2 punches are coming up with the recovery drone on the other side of that, giving a little bit of breathing room where, yeah, you're going to take a lot of damage, but if you can limit those deaths, maybe that recovery drone, if you're a character that likes size, could really work out. But we do see just raw damage coming out of the side of Plank Plonk. We'll have to see if Platinum exclusive with this Kazan Zentaro can either match that damage or just say, you know what? You got it on the damage department. But it seems like 6 1-2 punches have come out of this game, so we're looking, a brawl is surely brewing, as some might say.
Hey, that's our team call. That is a 2.5 women special getting run by Plink Plunk. Zentaro, Vice, Finny, so much damage. They already used evade. Zay already staggered. The card comes out. If that had hit, that would have been a kill. But Zay is already back up healed thanks to these low health bars. But so much pressure every single time one of these secondaries goes down. I'm watching PLX have to pay the evade tax over and over and over again. But Fudgy Waffles on this era, able to give those buffs to Zay and Drew, able to walk up, debuff the other team, put so much pressure forward. Great job by him. Ends up getting both barriers. And we'll see, this is absolutely a kill comp and nothing else coming out from the side of PLX. But they haven't been able to actually confirm these kills yet. But in their defense, Drew here still level 1. Keeping this Kazan level 1 for the first point is absolutely massive. Haven't been able to have a huge impact. Great secondary there from Muffin Kui. That triple take has so much pressure, able to intercept passes with it. Yin Kirby gets the first barrier, looking for the second, can't quite get it, but look at all the damage that's coming out here. Very little evade from anyone, and that, wow, great secondary from J-Dog, stops it, but unfortunately he tries to clear it, and Drew is right there putting it in. So much damage came out from the side of Pling Plonk, but no kills, and the first point goes to PLX.
I know Zay is a streamer, but the only stream here is the box down the river. They're trying to send him down, back down to 1 HP. Fudgy Waffles helping up on this offense to maybe alleviate some of the pressure on Zay as they go back to high health. But I think one thing of note here is that Zentaro with the Van Braces, but Kazan getting to play with Siphoning Wands. Perhaps a little bit of a difference in the power of these characters. One of them allowed to use that Siphoning Wand, the other just denied. The core has been ignored as we go into a game of Smash Brothers. These players are trying to kill each other off the sides. One goes into the blast zone. Zay gets the core. It goes behind the lock, and now we have to see how they get this up. The passive making the core a little too slow to score there. But right now, both locks go down. J-Dog's health in the process. Muffin back in the fray, but the core not near them. They have to see whether or not they can get this score up, and whether these Finny abilities will help redirect the core. But the only thing redirecting is Drew's secondary ultimate there, as they sneak that one through, and we go into this next round. Honestly, just a bloodbath.
I mean, okay, so that's the Finny weakness there being shown, just pushing forward on top of her. She can't quite get the clear. Never mind, Yin Kirby just puts it in 9 seconds. Great job by Plink Plonk there. But the weakness of Finny is obvious. You know, if you get in there, you press up against her, she can't actually do anything with her abilities to get it past. She doesn't have like a melee ability to really get those clears. Zentaro's ulting on top of Zentaro's. But on the other hand, great job by PLX, just waiting with that core, absolutely knowing they don't have to do anything. They can play it calm, they can play it cool, they can take the damage when they need it, and when they're not fighting for the core, it's so much easier for them to just use their abilities on the enemy forwards and their goalie especially. Fudgy Waffles walking up, one barrier down for each side, but almost punished for walking up. Does in fact get punished for walking up. J-Dog puts it in with that primary. Can't see that animation, and 2-2 here for the side of Plink Plonk. Great job on these last 2 points.
It feels almost like the core is just a spectator here witnessing the horrors of war as all these abilities are slammed onto each other. And we have to see whether or not they can defend this. A great clear through that Zentaro ult of the lock, barely staying up. But J-Dog looking like the next thing to go down as one of these locks goes down. J-Dog out of the mix. Zay getting a good redirect into the lock. Fudgy keeping this offense up. Yin Kirby with a flip though, keeping the possession, but they actually get a lock in the process. Potentially a goal here as the Zentaros are fencing a little bit. Fudgy, good awareness to back up there and not lose the lock there. Zay still very low, but that doesn't mean they have no impact here. The flip comes out, a good pass, gets it to Drew. We have to see whether or not they can do anything with it. The dash has to come out just to maintain possession. The ult comes out in turn. A secondary from Vice. There's just everything everywhere all at once, and it feels like this core is just constantly being flipped back and forth. It's hard to tell who has possession at any given moment. The Fenny secondary coming out that huge range, but unfortunate clear there by Fudgy. as it goes straight to Yin Kirby, and with a strike back, no quick strikes available, the core is going to sneak right back in as we go into this draft after 5 games in that round.
For there's the spark of leadership first draft again, with the spark of agility and strength already showing their faces. Fudgy didn't really have a clear there. The pressure that was put out from Moffin with that card was absolutely real, and Heavy Impact is selected first. Stagger Sparker selected second. Finally, Spark of Leadership goes third, not letting that go over to Finny. But Rapid Fire for Finny is pretty good too. Spark of Strength here for this Kazan. Really going to be pouring out the damage. And then took the Stagger Sparker away as well on the side of PLX. It's a little bit scary here. The damage is absolutely going to be racking up, but something like that with the extra damage from Drew off that Spark of Strength doesn't let J-Dog play the game. Yin, Kirby, and Moffin do their absolute best, but they cannot hold in this 2v3. Moffin ends up having to burn evade. Both barriers do end up going down, but so does Yin Kirby. If Moffin can find a way to get this core off into the front to J-Dog, possibly a good angle right here, buying a lot of space with that Vice ultimate. And that secondary gets control, dribbling, trying to keep it. Buys enough time for Yin Kirby at least to get back up and immediately actually go straight back down to that that open umbrella primary. Drew closes the umbrella and pokes the core in for the first goal of this set for PLX, and that was really unfortunate for Yin Kirby.
That Kazan strike feeling almost like a melee Estelle beam at times when you have that press like that. Right now, they're pressing up on this lock, not able to get it behind. The stall from the primary giving a little bit of confusion, which lets him sneak it in. And now the ult comes out from the Zentaro. Drew going for a dribble. The Fenny ult, great job holding that down, saying, all right, we need to get this out of here. I'm going to get it out of here. Drew with low HP, though, a little unfortunate on that angle. But the clear goes up, and so does Drew. His health down, but his stock's up as he gets another goal here with that close dash into ultimate.
That's tough. Not the right clear angle there for Moffin. Great job by Drew. It was a good clear angle, but Drew absolutely read it. Absolutely on top of things. J-Dog has full evade, has full core flip, and that's why they're absolutely on top of him, not letting him evade. Yin Kirby pushing forward, looking to create something here, but creating is what Moffin just did. That ultimate absolutely put Zay to bed. 2 core flips used for this side of Plink Plonk. Plink Plonk. There's another one, but I think J-Dog stopped his own goal. Great job from Fudgy Waffles picking up the pieces afterwards, but again, Moffin with another kill onto Zay, and then J-Dog gets a great angle. Fudgy can't clear that. Plink Plonk get their first point of the set.
J-Dog created that spicy opportunity in the net, didn't quite get it, and said, you know what, round 2, I'm going to get it this time. I got one more in me. Does secure that, the teleport covering top, making it a little difficult. There's that Fenny ult that we were talking about earlier on when we were talking about what picks could be good here. As right now we see this 2v3 situation, but with it being behind the lock, nobody wants to fully commit. No press up there, and they managed to actually get it out, as now the lock goes for the side of Plankpong, getting one of their own, holding their own. Yin Kirby going down once again, and 2 players down instantly. Oh, my goodness, it's like I'm watching a 2v2, it feels like. It feels like no matter what's happening, someone is dead. The Mortician is getting paid today. But right now, both players back up. J-Dog keeping the pressure on while they wait for their third player. As it seems like everybody's just shoving everything into a corner like nerds in a high school locker. As right now we see the core go back to the side of Platinum Exclusive. They try to keep this pressure up. Zay Forever holding down the midfield as Zentaro. Something I didn't think I'd really be saying. But honestly, when it's so chaotic like this, it feels like anybody has to cover any role at any given time. It gets to Drew, it gets to Zay, it gets back to Drew, and honestly, that Kazan with the close strike, I believe with 1-2 punch in overtime and spark, yeah, that's definitely sparking. You have to deal with Kazan having basically a core flip every time he touches the core.
That's so fast. And no sparks here in this draft. Kazan goes first, but does not get anything for that spark of strength. Fudgy, on the other hand, also doesn't get anything for that spark of leadership. And there are a lot of things here. Monumentalist ends up being the choice for Muffin over some other very possible ones. That is going to make these ultimates absolutely massive for Finny. At this point, she can walk up, put it on top of your barrier basically, and just suck the core and get both of those barriers with ease if the core is in the right position. And Yin Kirby with the snowball absolutely buying into it, needs to not die quite as much with that prize fighter, but we will see. Absolutely could build up some momentum. Unfortunately, momentum right now on the side of PLX. Plinkplunk unable to save their barriers, and Drew once again that added streak length from the closed Zentaro, from the closed Kazan is so hard for Muffin to deal with on this Finny. Great goal there for PLX.
There's just so much chaos happening in this game. Honestly, with that Monumentalist, it feels like any map can be Atlas's lab if Finny is in the mix. Well, right now, the only mix here is how they're going to survive dealing with both of their locks being gone. As J-Dog comes to help on this defense, really good added pressure from Yin Kirby as well, trying to get this out. But right now, it just seems like they can't get it out, and with Kazan primary acting as our ranged strike ward just to suck it in. You were talking about how Finny's ult can just suck the core in anywhere they want. Drew is saying, this is coming to me. Magnet hands it straight to them as they get another goal in a similar fashion. It feels like I'm watching a little bit of a rerun as they run down this field, and we see maybe potentially another situation where if Drew can get that core in his hands, it just feels like anything can happen.
Whoa, that's a really scary situation there for Muffin. Uses the ultimate, ends up in a little bit of a congested position, manages to get it out, but does use core flip. That card, though, pushes past Kazan with this hook, really able to punish Finny, who has to commit to these options a little bit earlier. Great job by Yin Kirby there with that core flip. Great angle, gets it in on the side. J-Dog outplays Fudgy Waffles 1v1. Doesn't give him a chance to clear that one. Vice Primary does a great job putting the core in. Plinkplunk have life, but Muffin Kui and Yin Kirby don't really have energy.
You say their team has life, but we'll see whether that changes with all the damage coming out. As now we see a core flip available for J-Dog and one available for Zay. Nobody really else having that pressure, but the core flip getting a kill in the process. We see J-Dog go down, not able to use their own. Yin Kirby trying to get some pressure up there, but right now it's back in the hands of Drew. Could be very bad for the side of Plinkplunk. Right now that Finny ult just covering infinite space, saying you are not allowed here. This road is closed. Fudgy Waffles getting a flip of their own available, waiting out this Vice ult, a good dribble, but the Finny secondary, oh my goodness, the speed on that with the team player is just going nuclear. Yin Kirby taking a little bit of damage of their own. No nukes here, no Luna on the field, just raw damage as now we see good clears. We see raw skill come out as they get this out of their half, and now Drew on the offense. And unfortunate, I think that was a Finny card.
It was definitely a Finny card. I know that feeling. I'm so sorry, Muffin. You gotta just get it out of there earlier. I know, it sucks. I've felt that one before. And Deadeye on the field here. That Finny could get absolutely devastating with it. But Zay now has Stagger, Swagger, and Unstoppable. Going to be a lot more difficult to kill this Zentaro, especially when the side of Plinkplunk has singular strong hits. The Deadeye does end up coming out here for Finny, which is so much damage. And I don't know, it's really tough. There's a clear angle here for Plinkplunk. They just have to kill them. But Fudgy Waffles with that quick strikes is going to buy so much space in here, and at the same time, that's our third set. Goal in 10 seconds. Apologies for talking about the draft for so long. Great job by Drew there, putting it in. We haven't seen any other sparks since that first set, have we? There's still 2 waiting and 2 more rounds. But if we see those rounds, Plinkplunk are going to be first pick, and that's going to be a really interesting decision from them on whether they end up blocking everything or not.
Honestly, I thought this era pick would backfire given that they don't have that really just get off of me tool. They do have the zone denial, And against this damage, the denied power on the primary actually being pretty nice to keep their team alive, as well as give some damage to their own. But honestly, right now, Fudgy Waffle's seemingly having no problem, but with Drew, he almost gets that in. Takes another chance at the strike board, just sends it into open space, has the open primary there, the top spin, just in case something were to happen, like a vice primary call out. But it just sneaks right in. Moffin coming back, as now we have back to this 3v3. Like you said, this Unstoppable really just keeping Zay alive a lot longer than they were. And right now, this ultimate from Finny, trying to keep the offense alive, but unfortunately just slips right back to them. Zay getting a barrier. Drew holding down the core flip, an excellent angle, even on that limited sort of directional that you can choose with the Kazan strike. They bounce it off of their own lock, but it gets it to Drew past Yin Kirby. Maybe that was intentional, maybe it wasn't, but the only thing that was intentional there is this win by the side of Platinum Exclusive, really just dominating performance by Drew. It felt like any time he had the core, it was very reminiscent to the last game that we had with Loki, where if Loki had the core, they were doing miracles. Now Drew said, we don't need miracles, we just need me to have the core, and I will make anything happen. And really, he just did. It was 11 out of 11 goals on Drew. Everybody else just a spectator to his performance. Even with how low his redirects were, every single one of them just felt so impactful.
Drew didn't have redirects because Drew was in Moffin's face the entire time. That last couple of sets, Drew just danced circles around Moffin, and that's the dangers of playing something like this Finny who doesn't have the melee pushback. The even Era has that debuff that can come out and try and push the core away through someone, but Finny doesn't have that same ability, especially when someone like Kazan is there just yanking the core in, pushing the core away. There's so much space that you have to deal with, and it's so hard on a pick like that with a Kazan in your face, just destroying your health bar, putting the goals in while you're alive, putting the goals in while you're staggered, putting the goals in while you're dead. It's it's a really tough situation for Moffin, and that's because Drew played that so well. And you mentioned the Era possibly being a little weaker. The Era generally really wants to play around that midfield here on Demon Days as a goalie. She has the two bruisers that she's buffing up. She's really helping them buy a lot of extra space just with those hastes, extra strength, extra reach with these abilities with her beam, really helping out her team. And anytime she steps up and hits a member of her team and a member of the enemy team, that's a huge swing. And taking the pauldrons on this map means that the power behind it is so much stronger. PLX had a clear game plan, came out and just eventually were able to push it in and not let not let the side of Plink Plonk really escape. It's a really tough situation to deal with. They were kind of getting run over, and I'm really interested in seeing where this is going to go, because we're going to end up on Taiko Temple next, which is another interesting, really possible kill heavy map. So I don't really know what's gonna happen there. The same thing could happen, but if you ban Kazan, what do you leave up in return? It it's a really tough situation.
Do you happen to know if in the advent of this Asher conundrum, where with her secondary in the net, do you know if that character is currently unlocked as a pickable character in this situation,
I
or
believe she is unbanned
unbanned?
officially
Okay.
because
Okay.
of it being clarified that it's been in the game the whole time. It's apparently been a feature. Uh, I believe she is unbanned, but I still, I mean, you're right. That is the Asher map. If she's unbanned, it wouldn't be surprising to see her. But I wonder if that would end up making Asher get picked more as a goalie. I don't think so. I feel like we'd still see Asher forward here, and I don't know. I love Taiko. I like Taiko Temple. I love Demon Days, but I like Taiko Temple. It's another fun map. The drums give you such interesting angles to work with. I really want to see what these players can do with them.
I'm also a big fan of Taiko Temple. Me as a rune player, it just like you said, all of those angles that you have opportunities for, it just feels so nice. But here we see a couple of player swaps come out. We see just Logan come in for the side of Plank Plonk, as well as It Is a Pineapple and a Tier come in for the side of Platinum Exclusive. Player swaps not something that is foreign to Platinum Exclusive, but on the side of Plank Plonk, I know that Logan is, I want to say, part of the starting roster. I will have to double check that. But at the same time, at the end of the day, they're here now. It doesn't matter who's starting, who's finishing. Whether or not they win is the only question that we have here. We're waiting for two players to ready up, I believe, and the map to get swapped to Tycho. Perhaps just a little bit of a break being taken. Demon Days is one of those maps where, see, I'm the opposite of you. I'm not a huge fan of it, not because I think it's necessarily a bad map. It's just so stressful. And when you're in a competition like this, any added stress can just be so hard on the mental. And maybe that's why we see some player swaps coming out from Platinum Exclusive, or maybe they just say, all right, we're just going to flex our roster a bit, let everybody get a slice of the pie here. But on as far as character picks, I think Muffin is going to stay on that Kazan goalie because I believe the last time they were on Taiko, they stayed on that Kazan goalie. Whether or not that gets banned is a different story. Drew, I could see Kazan forward working. Maybe they want to swap to something a little bit easier. I feel like with all the creations that are happening, the extra utility from that closed primary could be really nice. But on this map, you really do want to just shove creations in your opponent's face because it just makes their life so much harder. And something like Asher is definitely like the namesake of this map. Like you said, this is the Asher map. And so whether or not they pick a character like that or if they just sort of stick to their guns, we'll just have to see.
Like, this is gonna be an interesting one. I'm really looking forward to this. I'm really glad to see PLX continuing to just shift their roster, shift their roster. You no idea what to expect from this team, and I think that's absolutely a strength of theirs that they're just making it so hard for you to respond, and they're playing these different groups of players on different maps, absolutely letting people go where they want to play. And I feel like that's the sign of a really, really strong team. And they, could make some noise over there in up in Nassau if they are able to make it there next season. We are in queue here for this game on Taiko Temple 1-0 PLX looking to make it 2. And we'll see what happens on a Siege Machine hot shot start on Taiko Temple. That's dangerous. That's dangerous in a lot of ways here, Dendar.
Oh, what you said? Hot Shot and Siege Machine. The
Yeah.
Dubu ban is reasonable. The Juno ban is both of those. I would want both of those gone. Drew was hovering the Dubu forward, maybe a
There's
little bit of a Bells impersonation. Yeah, if
there's
I'm them, I want that gone too.
there's too many things to ban with this start. There's too many things. The Now gets through now. The Rasmus is through. Asher is here if anyone wants it with Hotshot or Siege Machine, frankly. And Kazan is here. Interesting. None of these things coming out. Showing me that I really have no idea what I'm talking about. The Estelle is such a good midfield pick here, though. And the Amy able to really push forward. I'm interested in seeing these positions. I think that's probably the Rasmus. No, it's of course it's Muffin's Kazan goalie there on the side of Plink Plunk, getting in there. J-Dog and It's a Pineapple, the only ones with Siege Machine. Everybody else with Hotshot. Those abilities are going to be hitting the core hard.
With this Imi pick, a character that honestly I had slightly forgotten about, but a great pick here as that cat cannon, as it's lovingly called by Lego Mage, but also just the Fireball Sentry, being a great piece of utility here to sort of just keep offense alive. But right now they have to keep their defense alive as the core just slips right into the goal. That was a pretty quick round. As we were talking about things that weren't happening on the screen, they just take all the locks were gone. They just say, let's speed this up. We've got places to be. But right now we just got to see how they pick up this next round. The mine comes out. The Zentaro yearns for the mines, but they don't clear that out. Moffat having a little bit of trouble with how these barriers are shaped and how this situation is. The Death Touch helping with that glitch pop. They get both barriers here. They have to see if they can confirm this. With Drew in your face, you have to be a little careful. That player really able to just make anything happen, but with the Firewall Sentry, the Pendulum Swing, a good dribble, that's just impossible.
This is such a touch and go map. One bad move, one missed clear, one little mistake can lead to one barrier, can lead to both barriers. One great offensive push can do the same. And you see that on these first 2 points, each team hitting a great one in. Just so much efficiency taking these barriers. And there we go again. Drew uses that core flip, puts Moffin in a scary situation. Moffin back here, still saving it, but this Skittle here from It's a Pineapple buying a lot of space. Moffin still alive, dashes forward rather than go back to that heal. But immediately both barriers go down. A great turret there from J-Dog. A core flip there, saves it just barely. And Moffin is up here at midfield. So's just Logan. They are pushing forward. Moffin is finally healed up, getting that space. Just Logan able to just put it in. And that core flip from It's a Pineapple just barely misses. A great job there from the side of Plink Blanc to take that point.
The goals are coming out, but so are the emotes from Logan. I don't think this is BM as much as just sort of, let's say, friendly banter. But right now, J-Dog trying to get less friendly as they try to press up on this goalie, but it just comes straight back to Drew. Drew not able to get anything is what I would like to say, but both are instantly gone. The Chevron from now helping keep up that offense, but a couple whiff strikes, and suddenly it's back in your half. And you have to deal with this defense right now if you're just Logan. But with the drum adding a little bit of assist, a little bit of a dribble back to It's a Pineapple. We have to see whether or not they can do anything here, but right now Drew is in possession, something you really don't want to see when your net is open. But right now they're trying to open up the net of the other team with this core flip available, having to use it. The mine not able to save that. But right now they may need some saving of their own as just Logan goes to 1 HP, barely able to live here. Whether or not they overfocus this KO could be the sign of how they lose this goal. But right now, J-Dog slowing it down a little bit, giving Logan some time to get a breathing room. But whether or not that's just time to kill them is a different story. The hook comes out, but maybe just a strike was needed instead. It just barely whiffs. And now we see the goal go from Drew as we see Platinum Exclusive get their second goal of the set.
This is a great first set here coming out from both sides. So much pressure, such a volatile map, and both teams are working so well within it. It's a Pineapple uses that core flip to clear this one out, not letting Logan and J-Dog get a really good offense off. But Logan with a great dribble, J-Dog jumps in, stuns Pineapple, makes sure he's not in the right spot, and an amazing hook from Moffin makes sure that the first barrier stays up for this here for the side of Plink Plonk. Logan trying to heal up. That was a little bit scary there, Logan, but he manages to survive. Dribbling up here in Pineapple's face with his dying breath. It gets that second barrier, and that's a great job by Logan using his life as a resource. Absolutely pushing forward. He's back. The barriers are still up, or at least one of them, and J-Dog with a core flip, with a jump, ends up committing too early, does not get it. This core flip from Moffin means no evade. Another core flip comes out of J-Dog, still unable to put it in, but that glitch pop will not allow either a good angle of clear, putting it down there. J-Dog trying to dribble it and get up here, but Drew does a great job on top of Moffin yet again, this time as Zendaro on the Kazan, and Ether able to put that in. Too many hits from Moffin to deal with, and the first set goes to PLX.
So much back and forth gameplay tonight as we look at this draft. Spark of Leadership first pick, most likely once again. But if you're now, there's that Monumentalist. That is a tough choice. I feel like you kind of have to deny the Spark of Leadership, but they value the Monumentalist higher. As the Heavy Impact may be getting denied, but Spark of Leadership taken. Maybe this early in the draft, you have to say, you know what? No deny is worth the value that this could potentially bring me. As two members of Platinum Exclusive do get very powerful awakenings here. A third one being picked up by Estelle in this missile propulsion. At face value, they are the winners of this draft in my mind. But that Spark of Leadership could lead to catastrophe down the line.
That's it's scary. It's always scary to leave Spark of Leadership up, and we've been seeing teams do it all day today. Moffin saved that barrier somehow. Incredible, using the extra size from those powerhouse pauldrons. Those hitboxes, those melee hitboxes just get bigger. But on the other hand, Pineapple's drones have gotten bigger too with this monumentalist pickup. But an amazing glitch prop from J-Dog means there is absolutely nowhere for Pineapple to save that. Either into Logan or into the glitch pop. Either way, that's going to be 1-0 for Plink Plunk in his second set. A great job on this first point. But we saw both of these teams with such strong points in the first set. Truly anything could happen here.
Right now, the only thing that's happening is this barrier going down, and a second one attempted here, just Logan with the pendulum swing, trying to defuse this situation. They managed to. The Firewall Sentry not quite caught up yet, even though it's showing all of that presence. It doesn't have a hitbox the entire way. You gotta wait for those lines to come down as they send it down the line of offenders here. We go down and try to get this second barrier. A little bit of, it looked like almost a lag from It Is a Pineapple there. But right now, the core flip is not lagging behind at all, as it is instantly pressed, stunning It Is a Pineapple, getting that goal. When you're that close to the net, It Is a Pineapple needs to be careful, because that flip could have killed them and lost their own, but right now they managed to keep it as we go into this 0-2 set right now. A flip instantly off the rip, but they could have almost gotten both barriers in the process. One down for both sides. A flip burned. Nothing quite happening here yet. Moffin with a flip of their own. Should anything horrific happen, it is used. The Firewall Sentry a little bit late to the party. A flip used by just Logan. They managed to get it. Another flip burned. A barrier down. Barriers, flips, left and right. It's like a gymnasium in here with how flips are going around. But just Logan in possession of the core, not able to do much there. The death touch, a little bit of a seemingly desperate measure to get the core back to them. But right now, the only desperation is this defense as they try to get it past both Drew and Atir. And Drew, even through the face of 3 people, manages to snipe it in with that primary.
Just the edge of that primary, just the end of it is enough. Great job from Drew. Absolutely just seizing that. And yeah, I think you were absolutely right. Pineapple is kind of clearly lagging a little bit. We can see those tiny jumps around. Unsure if that will go away or keep affecting him throughout the set, but he'll have to play through it if so. And great job here defending against the Firewall Sentry, not letting it really get any work done. But when the core gets in the corner like that, Rasmus is able to dance around and do basically whatever he wants. Moffin with these clears loves to just hit it one way, pull it back in, absolutely befuddling the enemy offense on where he's going to put it. And Logan almost found a crazy angle onto that barrier. J-Dog finding an interesting one here too. So is Drew. Moffin manages to save the core flip for that long, eventually uses it, and Logan uses the speed off of it to put that core in, get the last barrier, and Drew gets the last barrier from the other side. Moffin, that's the wrong goal. Not quite able to dribble it off the corner, as I assume he was trying to do. And a great job. PLX suddenly have a chance to steal this set away and go up 2-0 here.
You know, I'd like to imagine that Moffin didn't mix up their left and right, but like you said, I think that was just an attempted dribble gone wrong. As now both areas are up for both teams, this offense is going right, but unfortunately they just managed to slip it past. Moffin, it feels like, has infinite angles to clear this out. Drew whiffing a strike there, but in a tough situation as the first barrier finally goes down. This Firewall Sentry attempting to help with the second. It does get taken. And with the pendulum swing, it's looking a little bit tough for It Is a Pineapple as they snatch this set back. And in the face of a lagging goalie, you have to wonder whether or not this could spiral out of control quickly, especially with Spark of Leadership and a Spark available. But it looks like they're potentially hovering it to take it. We'll have to see what this draft develops into. Fight or flight coming out for the Rasmus, the Spark going to now, the quick strikes going to Moffin. Moffin having that quick strikes. It was already impossible to score on them. Maybe we'll see it even more difficult. The Demolitionist comes back for Zentaro. That extra size is really going to help out. The heavy impact already giving them a ton of utility. With bigger hitboxes comes bigger opportunities. The Chrono Boost mostly just acting as a dash awakening for the Estelle. Don't hate that pickup. And then the Glass Cannon, I feel like on a map this congested, can be a little bit tough to get full value out of that, but it just depends on where the offense is running, and right now the offense is running straight into Moffin's barriers as they manage to take one, trying to take a second, but they're also trying to take the lives of J-Dog and Logan.
I think the Glass Cannon is highly underrated as a forward. It gives you a lot of speed when you are running away, but right now, they don't want to talk about that. PLX just wants to kill. 2 down, J-Dog staggered. Drew gets the goal with that core flip. 1-0 for PLX pretty quickly. And yeah, the Glass Cannon essentially means if you are running, you can get some more space. But when Drew is just on top of you like this, there's not much to be done with it. It's quite tough, but the other options were not particularly striking either. Just Logan is already staggered here. They're really doing their absolute best to get this core out, and finally an opportunity arises. Logan is here pushing forward, cannot quite get the barrier, but does force the core flip out of it's a pineapple. J-Dog has full core flip here, and they are trying desperately to get it all the way up to him. The core flip comes out, ends up getting the barrier as his teammate goes down. Just Logan not on the map anymore, but J-Dog is keeping control, not letting this core go past midfield for a long time, giving Logan time to respawn, and a lot of space for Moffin to keep this barrier up. Logan pushes forward again, looking for this. So much speed comes out of these closed umbrella Kazan primaries, and it's so tough for the side of PLX to push back with 8 reds off of a single strike from Moffin Kui. There's a great jump from J-Dog, but unable to control it. Manages to turn off that drone before it can do any damage. But the shot off the middle, off the drums from Just Logan. Incredible angle, really just sticking it to Pineapple and not letting him get a clear.
Even though that was a strike, not an ability, that shot was hot. As we go into this next round, a flip available for Moffin. And they try to flip it out on the side of Pineapple, but it just gets struck board just like nothing. J-Dog putting the firewall sentry down, making it impossible to clear that out. Now we have to see with Moffin walking up if that core flip is available, but Logan just sneaking it past as it goes through 2 people as they go up 2-1 in this set. These rounds are going fast. You really just can't blink. And one thing I wanted to note is with this now, having the Monumentalist and the Siege Machine, there's a lot of times where somebody like J-Dog just has to eat a triangle, even if they don't want to, and they're losing half their health in the process, but they are freeing up so much space. But when you don't have a healer like now to help you out, or like Atlas, it can be a little tough saying, do I value half of my life or not losing this singular lock? Normally a question for the goalie, but in this case it's a question for anyone involved, it seems like. As Logan sneaks that in, the lag really showing its fangs here, as Pineapple really just not having the best time, but honestly putting it up even if they are struggling a little bit, which is respectable. As we see, another spark deny here coming out.
That was really, really unfortunate for It's a Pineapple, and it's unfortunate they also have to deny this spark, but you know what? 2 sparks isn't bad either. You're gonna feel okay with it. Really hope that lag ends up going down for him. Don't want to see anybody end up in a situation because of that sort of thing. Rapid fire gets picked up for this Kazan. A lot more of those closed primaries and open primaries too, being able to just yank the core from any spot in that radius around him. So much power here, especially frankly for the goalie Kazan. And we'll see what Moffin Kui can do with it here, as it's a pretty close point to start off this 4th set.
The Death Touch getting that first barrier, yanking Pineapple away while the core slides slightly through, just like Logan slides it straight into their net. Even in a 2v1 situation, that Unstoppable not even getting popped. Really just running it down here. As Moffin stepping up on this offense a lot, and really just even in 1v2 situations, just sending it straight past and getting it to the person they need it to. J-Dog, an unfortunate dash, they're not quite getting it, but a good bait on the Zentaro ult by the Kazan hook. the crooked leverage, I believe it's called. And honestly, the way he's been using it is rather crooked. He's a criminal at getting this away from the enemy team. And right now, this first barrier goes down for that team. The glitch pop trying to secure the second, but not quite there. And the crooked leverage not quite working out there that time either, as the core just goes straight into the net past a bunch of people. That a great angle, if nothing else.
That's an amazing angle there. Moffin, even with that extended strike hitbox, not able to get a piece of it, putting us at 1-1 in what could be a really big deciding set. Unfortunate bounce there for Moffin. Very fortunate for the side of PLX. And when that core goes between those plates, it's pretty hard for any goalie to get it out of there as soon as it slips past. But speaking of slipping past, goes past Pineapple. Either manages to save it with that secondary core flip. More damage coming out from the side of Pling Plonk. Forward here with the core flip, dead in the net, and J-Dog gets the point. Match point here. This could be huge.
A big opportunity here, but Moffin does have that flip to help the defense and kind of low energy on the side of Platinum Exclusive to really combat that. As right now they're trying to combat Moffin in this offense, but Logan really just sneaking barriers left and right. It feels like there's a lot of times where I kind of look away from them for just a second, and all of a sudden they have an amazing angle to get a barrier here, but right now they're just fighting to keep it in that corner. Moffin with the flip available, doesn't need it quite yet. The primary's still available, but here they may need to use it as Drew walks up. Not really sure what's available for them, but the flip does come out, baiting the Zentaro ult. The Death Touch getting another opportunity on this barrier. A great strike. A great pendulum swing plus the dash, the cyber swipe. But with the goalie down, the flip does have to come out from Drew. A good stall there, but J-Dog with opportunities. It's here. Great defensive capabilities by them. The glitch pop comes out a little unfortunate on the angle. Logan, seeing it here walk up, says, you know what, I'm just going to strike it back down to where they were. They aren't there now. Their secondary is still on cooldown. This is a good opportunity for me.
Yeah, great job here from the side of Pling Plong. Managing to finally take the second game, taking us to a game 3. Pling Plong really, really want to deliver the first loss here to the side of Platinum Exclusive, rain on their regular season parade just a little bit. Unfortunate to see that lag coming out for It's a Pineapple in such a crucial match, but really, they played so well in spite of that. It doesn't really matter. So much power being showcased by both of these teams, and I'm going to be so interested to see this Atlas Lab Game 3 here.
I have to wonder if they're going to continue to make swaps. Look like the answer is yes, with It is a Pineapple having those seemingly random lag spikes. I have to wonder if they're going to sit out for this game or if they're going to suck it up and say, you know what, even if I am having a little bit of trouble, I do want to get these reps in. I do want to get these games in. We've already secured our spot. It's just worth the practice at this point, even if there is a little bit of trouble on their end. On the side of Plink Plonk, they've been playing really well that last game. J-Dog holding it down in the midfield. Logan making endless strikes, it seems like, and really great angles to secure things that seemed otherwise impossible. Right now, with Atlas Lab being the next map, there's a lot of opportunities both for damage and for core control there, as the black hole aiding with the damage aspect, but also with Logan having some great angles, J-Dog having some great control with those glitch pops and cyber swipes, maybe using that black hole as a way to sort of dribble to themselves and keep opportunities coming. But right now, we're just waiting to see what the player picks are before we go into this next game.
Yeah, again, it's going to be interesting seeing what roster we really have come out from the side of PLX, playing these different things for different situations. And Atlas Lab, for the side of Plink Plonk, do you think the Kazan goalie comes out on Atlas Lab? I think it does. If it's not banned away, I think we'll see Moffin there with that again. Those little weird circular barriers in the corner, the space behind them, it's a really big area of space to have to control. And if we end up seeing those, the Kazan come out, I think it can really, really dance on the outside of that barrier and provide a lot of protection.
We see Fudgy Waffles come in, a quick swap, leaving the goalie as is. They've recognized that the play wasn't bad. It was just the little hiccups in that lag. And so now, as we go into the Atlas Lab game, we have to see what the awakenings are. Let me double check those.
What are we going to see for the awakenings here? Monumentalist and explosive entrance. If we don't see a Zentaro ban, we are seeing two Zentaros, like, for sure, right? For sure.
I feel like you can't give Drew the Zentaro here. That's just asking for trouble. But with Monumentalist available, we could see. Yep, the now ban does come out, but with it as a pineapple hovering this Atlas, the Monumentalist I have to assume is the pick there. For Fudgy on this Juno, it's a little tough because you want that core speed from the Monumentalist. You don't really care for the size as much as trying to spark the core. And honestly, explosive entrance with those dashes, you've seen Ariel's Juno do amazing work. Have to assume it's just as good. We see Zentaro, Kazan, and Aimi come out here for the side of Plink Plonk. This double Zentaro action, like you said, you definitely called it. If it isn't banned, we're seeing two. And right now we just got to see if the offense from Kazan goalie can match the defense from Atlas goalie on this map. And right now with the first barrier being taken, the second one being postured for, it's a little tough to say, but right now Fudgy just hanging back, helping on the defense here as we go in, and a death instantly happens. The Zentaro not able to get anything, and unfortunately sitting at an angle where they can't keep this offense up. And now we have to see if Fudgy can get it to Drew, or if Moffin can just keep this offense up like this. Really, in the face of seemingly three people, Moffin says, I don't care, I'm keeping this out, you can take it back, I insist.
Moffin is doing an absolutely superb job defending this second barrier here. It's a pineapple, gets a kill onto just Logan. I believe that's the second one that's occurred so far. Unfortunately, the hook not quite able to save the barrier this time around. Moffin in a bit of a situation, but Logan respawns in time to keep him safe. The secondary burn from It's a Pineapple, but unable to actually get the core out of their half until we're just now. Drew pushing forward with that Zentaro dash. Two dashes come in from the side of Plink Plonk, take out Fudgy Waffles, not letting him do anything. J-Dog has this core flip in midfield, but Logan just on top of Pineapple, and a great angle from Moffin Kui doesn't let PLX get a good clear off there. Great job from Plink Plonk, and those kills are going to be coming in so much in this game for one reason, and that's the 12.5% harder hitting impacts off of that explosive entrance. So many abilities from these characters are impacts. Great angle from J-Dog if you want to save the barrier, not so much for taking it, but just Logan able to clean it up, and I think that's lag again.
You hate to see it. Like, there's really nothing else to say. Like, you can't even say whether or not the clear attempt was good if they just never get a chance to take it. And right there, the only thing being taken is the frames of Pineapple and the packets as well as they get lagged out there. But with a barrier taken for both sides, many opportunities being taken here. We see Drew and Fudgy walking up, denying that orb. Logan a little low on health. We could see that explosive entrance come back to bite them, especially when you have an Atlas hitting you with a primary and a secondary every time you go to do anything. The hook a little delayed there. Logan delaying the inevitable as they kill that player. Fudgy Waffles, a great clear there with that secondary, making it a little difficult to clear out the flip available for Logan. As Pineapple looking in this 1v1 situation in the face of a glitch pop. The primary comes out. The Zentaro dash comes out, the core flip comes out, everything is coming out. Fudgy Waffles very close to a flip of their own, not quite there yet though, maybe looking for just this orb that's about to spawn behind them, but instead keeping the offense up. Not able to do it there. They do have the flip now, a slightly off angle, but dribbling it to themselves, they still managed to get it, even in the face of that Atlas primary.
That was an amazing interception from Logan there. Saw where the clear was going, knew he could absolutely just steal control of it with that extra long dash. Takes it away from It's a Pineapple, puts it in the goal, and Plink Plonk might be on their way to giving PLX their first loss of the season, especially if Logan has Twin Drive. More of those dashes are going to be absolutely crucial for stealing possession. And you know what else we see in this draft, Endler? 4 Sparks!
You know, it's a little poetic that the first game that we get that doesn't have a Spark of Leadership start has the 4 sparks in it. So the Spark of Leadership later is just completely useless. So this is one draft where there's 4 Dead Awakenings and potentially a later draft where there's 1. So now somebody is getting scammed in this draft, but right now no scams here, only good gameplay as both barriers go down even in the face of that Firewall Sentry. Logan going for one of their own, managing to get it, but it's right back to Drew, somebody who you really don't want to put in this situation, because if he's given the opportunity, he will make it happen. And right now, even with all those Kazan abilities, gets it right between them, the hook a little bit off positioning-wise, but a good attempt regardless, as Drew dribbles in the face of 2 people, gets it in. We go into this next round being up 1-0 for the side of Platinum Exclusive.
Muffin could not find the correct angle for that hook, but still, you can see that with a slightly different angle, that absolutely would have gotten out. A lot of abilities thrown out from PLX to get that first barrier. Drew's health bar will come back after not too long. Certainly, Logan's will take longer, but Muffin, with that explosive entrance, such a long dash forward, allows him to get the barrier of his own, and I kind of disagree with you about those sparks. They pick the ones they want later if they end up getting that spark of leadership, but a great dash from Drew puts pressure onto Muffin again, ends up using the core flip, a great save from Pineapple, not expending any resources, just the strike, holding onto everything. But Muffin is finding these angles to get it out. A great hook again from Muffin, keeps the goal held down, still held down. Drew and Fudgy Waffles both with flip, not getting anything. Just Logan ends up getting the barrier too, trying to look for it with this primary. Drew has the core flip, ends up using it, but a great hook from Muffin covers so much of the goal. A great pass. They're looking for this. J-Dog has the core flip interrupted by Drew's ultimate. Muffin hits it down to J-Dog, tries to get it to Logan, can't quite do it. Fudgy is there in the middle of them, can't get that goal in. Just Logan, though, gets the pass from J-Dog, puts it in the bottom of the net. A very close point. Both teams playing very well, but in the end, Plink Plunk ties up this second set.
It's tough when you're the side of Platinum Exclusive because Muffin, it feels like when they get that player advantage, is able to just step up on the offense. Even though it's a 2v2, Muffin manages to hold it down excellently. And when they have 3 players, it feels like almost like this iron wall. Even though this character is known for their offensive prowess, they're really just able to use everything in their toolbox. But right there, Fudgy uses the tool known as killing a player as they keep this offense up, getting the barrier for themselves. The black hole potentially cutting that pass, but right now Muffin cutting that chance on the goal with the open primary. That topspin really helping out. Drew getting an attempt there, but with the dash, the length on that dash is just so tough to deal with if you're a goalie, because it feels like they can score from just anywhere.
This is why as soon as we saw that explosive entrance, I said it, we're seeing 2 Zentaros or 0. It's such a dangerous pick for him. Super Surge left, but it was replaced with something better, it feels like. J-Dog with his Firewall Sentry able to put a little bit of pressure forward. Just Logan here as well, and it's a Pineapple not able to clear it. Both barriers go down before the 15-second mark on this set. And oh my goodness, the ball is just going everywhere, but Pineapple can't quite hit the dribble angle, ends up own goaling, and Plink Plonk have a chance again. This set is totally stealable. They could be up 2-0 and 1 set away from giving PLX their first loss of the season.
You know, honestly, it would be tough if this is their first loss because, honestly, what better way getting into the playoffs or the finals as it is than saying, hey, you know, we didn't drop a single round, you know? Like, that's just such like a mark of pride for them. Muffin helping on this offense, showing up their mark in this midfield. But right now, we see the Atlas ult come out. Nobody dead now, but with 2 barriers dead on the side of Platinum Exclusive, this could be a goal attempt. A little bit of a stall on that primary from Zentaro, but right now they're just looking for a way to get it to Logan. A little cheeky with that glitch pop, could have just been a pass, but they wanted to flex a little bit. Maybe predicting a Juno jump or something along those lines. But Fudgy trying to cover both top and bottom ends up covering nothing as it goes straight through them.
Is J-Dog the best Amy of all time? What was that? I've never seen a pass like that, but that makes so much sense, and a hot shot now is his reward. Going to be able to put a lot of pressure down with these glitch pops, and with that cyber swipe, even with the firewall sentry, that's a really, really scary hotshot. But team player Juno is pretty terrifying in its own right, gotta say.
Honestly, with the hotshot pickup, maybe you're right. Maybe this will turn into a fireball sentry, as this core, not particularly much to scale there with the fireball sentry hits, but honestly, the cooldown reduction could be happening left and right, and up and down is the name of the game here as J-Dog secures another kill. This time, it's Drew who goes down, the Zentaro who's biting the dust. A good attempt on that strike shot to try to cut the pass there, but unfortunately just a slight miscalc. As now the barrier goes down on this offense, we see just Logan pushing up. A good clear by Pineapple, a good dash to keep possession. Fudgy in control of the core here, the black hole interrupting the play. As now the offense keeps going, the Juno already burned just on the defense here. A good passive to try to dribble the core, keep possession, but they don't really have a scoring attempt, it feels like. As now with that primary from Juno, another attempt, another failure. But honestly, with how many attempts they're getting, it feels like eventually this iron wall will have to crack. But right now it's the core flip that cracks into the enemy goal as they take a goal there. Honestly, these angles have been great on these core flips going into the goal.
So that kill, that early kill from J-Dog, that's the explosive entrance, and that's the Deadeye. The Deadeye on these dashes, it counts where you start from. That's the distance. And that's where that gets calculated from. An extra 32.5% on those strikes is so much knockback here for J-Dog. Although Drew's the one getting the knockback with his primary and putting J-Dog in the net. I spent the whole point talking about how much knockback that Amy could actually do. And suddenly J-Dog ends up in the net. Great point there from Platinum exclusive. But they have to be so careful of anything. If they're near an edge, just Logan and J-Dog could both just get a quick kill, and that could be devastating for the side of PLX. You know, I'm still talking and saying it could be bad for PLX. It could be bad for PLX. And Drew just keeps scoring, so I'll just stop talking. You can have this one done.
You know, you mentioned that knockback on the IME secondary there, that cyber swipe, but right now the only thing being knocked back is perhaps Plinkpong being knocked back into reality as they're down 2-1, and two very quick rounds have led to this situation. The black hole scoring a barrier for them, a great core flip by Pineapple, and a great primary to take one down. And now they have this 3v2 offense where they are fighting sort of the long side of this barrier, and they're going to try to get it through. The Juno covering so much space with that ultimate, as now they are in this position where they are pressured. J-Dog has a flip though, the pressure's still theirs. J-Dog walking up to create a situation where this flip could turn into something. Logan getting stuffed out by that Atlas primary, a dribble from Drew, but the passive causing him to be a little mispositioned to catch it on the rebound. The flip available, but the EI dash from Logan killing the goalie. A great attempt by Moffin to save that, but unfortunately the core flip just covering too much space and creating too many spots where you just have to guess.
That was a crazy play from Logan and J-Dog to take out It's a Pineapple, but they couldn't actually get control of the core afterwards. Great job by Drew, absolutely just putting that one away, not letting Muffin save it no matter how many cooldowns he expends. And PLX are alive, PLX are undefeated for a reason here, Dundar, and they're really showing that they can absolutely take any set at any time.
You know, there may be some haters that say, well, which version of PLX is the undefeated one? But honestly, it really just feels like no matter who they field, they just get amazing results. Everybody here, Fudgy has been goalie, he's been midfielder. Drew has just been this force of nature on the offense. But J-Dog and Moffin, this force of nature on defense normally, but right now with both locks gone, the pressure's on. Drew in the net, not able to get much there. The black hole knocking back the offense, as now no barriers are taking Drew an opportunity. The EI dash not quite cutting it. And now with this core flying around, the Alice primary, that extra length is really helping. It actually doesn't have length from anything. It was just, he just walked up and did it. But Right now, the only thing not being done is getting the core into this net as Alaka goes down. Logan on this offense here, J-Dog helping out, but the black hole kind of messing things up, forcing out the glitch pop. Moffin, another opportunity, a good strike war, avoiding the Drew situation. As right now they Soaring angle it to themselves with that top spin, manage to save it, get it to Logan. J-Dog has flipped the glitch pop covering, but just too awkward of an angle to make something happen. It just feels like this core is flying a million miles an hour. The players are everywhere on the screen. Nobody has any control at any given moment, and anytime they do, it just feels like something happens that instantly steals it from them. As that Juno steals the possession, giving Drew ample time to set up a situation where they can score in the face of Moffin.
Those Juno blobs didn't even touch it. Drew put it in just off of Moffin Kui's core flip, did not let anything happen there. And that extra link that you were saying on these Atlas primaries, it's coming from Strike Shot. That's where it's coming from. And It's a Pineapple is making great use of both that and the Strike Shot projectile. Just Logan ends up getting that recovery drone taken. J-Dog and Logan are trying to push this forward, but somehow this point seems very, very PLX favored. There's only one barrier left, but oh no, Pineapple, great angle from J-Dog, gets both barriers. But that shot onto the black hole ends up getting... Oh no! It got Logan, but J-Dog got Pineapple, put the core in. Plinkplonk are alive here. Plinkplonk don't want this to go to set 5. They really want to end it here and now.
You made an excellent point about that strike shot, but one thing I'm forgetting is that Siege Machine on that Atlas does actually give projectile range as well, something I don't really think about because I think of him as a creation character, not a projectile one. But right now, the only thing being created is this offense by the side of Plinkplonk, even in the face of a 2v3 situation, both barriers down, trying to get this core to Drew so he can create an opportunity with this dash. Moffin not able to save that, but right now, more opportunities to save, but in the face of Juno slides, Drew, everybody coming back up from the depths, like, it's just so difficult when you're the face of Plinkplonk. And honestly, it's just a tough game when everybody in this game is so talented, and every mistake feels like it cripples your team. But right now, they're just trying to cripple these barriers and get this point in before things can go catastrophic. But right now, two players are looking at their death's door. J-Dog has a flip, but he might have to burn it just to stay alive. Moffin trying to help with... Oh my goodness, Fudgy goes down. No flip used there. Flip or your life, take your pick. He chooses his life and goes down with it, as right now Pineapple is just trying to hold, stall for a little bit of time, give their team an opportunity, but the opportunity comes as that hot shot sends it straight into the barrier, and now we have Drew holding it down, trying to keep this offense up, but the dash doesn't quite make it. Fudgy's coming in, and we just got to see how they manage to score this.
This is such a close point. One barrier left for both teams. Logan and J-Dog have the pressure right now, but it just slips right through the firewall sentry, and the only thing they really get off of that is damage onto Pineapple. Great angle there from Logan. Suddenly, the goal is open. Overtime is here, but Moffin can't quite get a hold of that one. Neither can J-Dog. Barrier down. Every barrier down. PLX looking to absolutely put this one away, get into the 5th set, but Moffin and just Logan combined put the core in the bottom of the net. Plinkplonk, match point here for Plinkplonk. PLX looking to send us to set 5. This is a absolutely huge point though.
This definitely is, and right now the offense is huge, but they send it straight back, send it packing. That Zentara passive not able to score that top barrier. A good attempt at the redirect, keeping the offense alive even in the face of 3 people trying to sneak it around them. But right now both barriers are dead and the defense has to come alive for the side of Plinkplonk. But a good core flip denied by the Expanse. Logan could have potentially gotten both barriers there, but now has to just settle for one. As Drew looking for a goal of their own, looking to take this to set 5. Like you said, with the dash and the flip, it's looking possible, and it's looking like it went straight in. Drew, excellent play there. As now we go into this set 5, a final draft, looking for potentially very big things. But honestly, this is just brutal.
What happened with that hook? I saw the animation for the hook reach downwards, and I saw the hitbox for the hook reach forwards. I'm not sure exactly what occurred there, But what has occurred here in this draft is Drew picking up that spark of leadership, spark of focus being essentially spread to his team and doubled on this Zentaro, who also has primetime 1-2. There's a lot that Drew can do. So many cooldowns, so much uptime on everything. Rapid fire on Muffin as well. Uptime, uptime, uptime. There's so much power here in this draft, and one barrier goes down immediately for the side of PLX, but 1-2 will follow. Muffin is in the air and can't get down fast enough. Drew dribbles it and ends up going in. It seemed like Muffin just didn't quite have the angle again, and PLX with the lead.
I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but I believe that Muffin there, I think Strike Ward themselves, they hooked it but then struck it the wrong way. I think that's what that emote was for, but right now both barriers down. They said, alright, mistakes happen, let's make it not happen again by just ending this set here and now. As they try to even this up, J-Dog with a flip available, but Logan with not much life available, even if they want to make a pass happen. But who needs a pass when you can pass it straight into the net and get a goal for your team? Set 5, 1-1. Both sides looking a little low on energy. Platinum exclusive with a flip available, Drew halfway to one. We have to see if that energy advantage comes into play, but ooh, unfortunate angle. No barriers taken there, but it looked good. Both barriers taken here. Drew showing, hey, you wanted to take both barriers, let me show you how it's done. There's no Pineapple keeping up with that primary. The flip has to come out. The Zentaro ultimate comes out. Fudgy dribbling, just giving themselves a little more time to think. Drew almost at that core flip. The dash, giving it to them, but almost dying in the process, having to burn it just in that awkward situation. Logan at 1 HP, Logan recovery droning, keeping themselves alive. That's not going to be available for the rest of the set, and if this set is as high octane as these previous rounds, maybe you're going to need that recovery drone, and now that it's gone, that could be a big deal breaker. Right now, Fudgy trying to break open the net with that flip, a slight miscalc on the angle. But honestly, it looked like Muffin was covering it regardless, as now 2 players on this offense, 3 with the help of that strike shot and 4 with the help of that black hole. But they managed to send it down. J-Dog, a quick dribble, Fudgy interrupting, forcing a situation, trying to just stall for this player to come back, and they managed to get it down. Muffin looking for a good strike here, sparking everything in overtime. It's just so stressful to deal with if you are the side of Platinum exclusive. Oh, but a quick kill. Fudgy dealing with that is going to be stressful for them as well. Logan looking for an opportunity, but that expands. Oh my goodness, Drew in an awkward situation, almost pulling in double time for the enemy team. J-Dog looking for an opportunity. A good strike war win by Logan as we go up 2-1 in this set for the side of Plankplonk. All of these rounds are just nail biters.
That was J-Dog's point there. Great passes, great barrier take, amazing stall. Not letting that power play do anything, and he's rewarded by immediately going down to 1 health with full core flip on this one. But Logan gets both barriers. The sentry turret is here. It's pushing forward. There's the core flip out of J-Dog. Waits out. The Atlas secondary manages to put a lot of pressure down here, but Pineapple still has flip, and blobs are still littering the field sometimes. Not letting him get here. Just Logan is low health. 0 prize fighter stacks, but that knife's edge still going forward. J-Dog tries to get a good pass, but the black holes just moves it just a little bit. Muffin gets this clear. Muffin hits it up. J-Dog again has it, but can't quite get it. The firewall sentry gets it up. Just Logan. 4 flips, can't quite get it. Great save from It's a Pineapple. Logan is dead thanks to Drew. And can J-Dog get this one by himself? Can't seem to buy enough time. Pushing forward, but Muffin is absolutely here. Muffin has the save. Muffin is not letting anything happen. Overtime is here. The core is red from just one of these strikes from Muffin open. Oh my god, crazy save there. Logan gets control of it, but J-Dog with that cyber swipe just puts it right in. And Plankplonk give PLX their first loss of the season on the way into playoffs. That has got to be a confidence builder.
For sure. Honestly, that gameplay was just fantastic from both sides. I don't think there's a single player who played even remotely poorly there. That was just, there's just so much happening. So much that you have to deal with. So many things you have to consider. But right now, the only consideration is how the side of Plankplonk is going to celebrate giving Platinum exclusive their first loss, as you said. But really just J-Dog controlling that midfield really well with those glitch pops and cyber swipes. A couple of them, a couple hard reads, maybe they don't go right the first time, but once you start getting them, it really starts messing with the defense. And honestly, Fudgy on that Juno able to jump in right when they need to. Both Zentaros just Zentaroing it up. Like that explosive entrance really just creating so many opportunities for that character. It's the new Super Surge, so to speak. But I fear for the day explosive entrance and perfect form are back because honestly, that character is just already a menace. And if both of those were together, I couldn't imagine dealing with either one of these players. But
If those were together, Zendaro would be
holy,
the best character in the game. Absolutely. Oh my goodness. That was such a good job. The playoff teams are locked in for this season of NASA, by the way. We will be seeing Platinum Exclusive and Pling Plonk both in the playoffs, along with Party Rockers 2, Chikara, Chatting, Core Requiem, and 5 Kais. That's going to be great. But for today, I think we're about done, Dendar.
it's looking like it. Just like the undefeated streak ends, so does this stream have to. As we got to get out of here. But honestly, great games played, great commentary by you. Enjoyed every moment of it. And honestly, right now we just got to head out. Unfortunately, more Mega Strikers to be played later. But for today, that's it.
Have a great day, everyone. Hope you enjoyed these games. See you next time, besties.